Crazy busy, good. Yeah,
You're our first interview of our segment, so
fantastic. Well,
you get to sit for a minute
that's great.
while we're getting ready.
I'm in no rush. I have nowhere else to be.
Okay, awesome.
I've been sitting.
Oh, I want to take my bag in.
Yeah, should I do the same
Since
thing?
I'm on for hours.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, can you stick that in my bag? Right there.
Oh, it's live. Yeah.
It's just live.
Yeah, right.
Not streaming yet.
Are we gonna sing a duet?
Could.
Okay.
Would you like to?
Might as well. So the
So I have the amp first. You want to talk about the guitar first and then the amp?
I'm fine either way.
The guitar, and we can hand it to
That's
somebody.
fine.
You guys can stand over here if they
Hey,
want to.
I do have a job for you if you don't mind. I'm gonna do the guitar first, and then I'm gonna hand it to you so I have a free hand. Probably, yeah. The
You can ask that Vela.
Vela.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a lot more probably content on the amp to talk about.
We'll talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll talk about the amp.
Yeah, I mean the guitar is not a brand new model. It's a new finish, and there's some, but it's like, but I can go over it. But the amp is like, hot off the presses. And I didn't know we were doing this combination until before we left, but it actually just so happened that Hunter and I just did a Facebook Live thing for the PRS site with it, playing this very guitar into this amp. So is it cool if I just plug that?
Yeah, you can talk about it, sure. Absolutely. Hey guys, would there be any spot where we can see this amp?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Is there any camera angle where you can see the amp? Or do we have to hold it up?
No, we can use this.
I tell you what, you point the amp anywhere you want, like set it anywhere where it looks good for you, and I can adjust how I talk.
Turn it that way, and then
Yeah,
you can see it.
yeah, put it wherever works for you. I'll make do.
Just turn it.
Something like this?
Yeah,
I can talk about it without actually like
Yeah,
turning
yeah.
knobs and
That way they can switch to that camera when you're talking. This camera actually has 4 shots in one camera. So they can get you, me.
Did you hear that, Hunter?
Further.
She said that single camera has 4 camera angles in one camera. No, that one right there.
It's got like one YouTube and one offset and then like a timer each. It's really cool.
He's like
Be alive, right?
he's a social media / photo guy. So yeah, he geeks out over that. You'll never find.
Like that.
turn it this way more so that you don't see the settings.
It's like when someone tells you their name and it goes right out of your head.
Yes. By the way, mine Brian Ewald.
See, I have that written down.
I know, just in case.
I got my cheat sheet.
My name is Steve Vai.
It's right after.
I know, I saw that.
This is Steve Vai, but it's coming right up.
But I grew up listening to him, so
There you go.
I air guitared to many Steve Vai solos in my day.
You and many other people.
Oh yeah. It's cool. I feel like I'm opening up for him in a weird way.
I'm going to tune it up. Little intro for today before we start.
Sure. And roughly, how long of a segment are you looking for, or does it?
It'll be like 8 minutes, so you got some time
What?
to tell us the story.
How much do you want like a? Because I mean, there's so much to PRS brand and line. Do you want me to give any like even brief backstory about Paul himself, just of like how the company started? Like,
I would ask you that question
Oh, you
if I
can?
feel like, you know,
oh, so this is gonna be more like direct questions.
I'm going to ask you questions.
That's all good.
Like if I feel like, oh, that was a little bit short, like no cutely, I'll ask you some other stuff about PRS, about Paul.
Oh, I can talk for days, just so you know.
Or if I might just ask you a question like, you know, what else is new with PRS? You know, maybe some of our viewers out there don't know about PRS. Can you tell us some background?
Yep.
You get nervous, just make eye contact.
But it's more like
I'm picturing you naked if I get nervous.
let's start with the stuff we want to hit, and then we'll see what happens in real time.
Okay. Hey Hunter, you'll find this funny. She was saying like, if she asks me a question and feels like maybe if the answer is too short, she'll do something. I was like, I don't know if I'll have that problem, but
Usually just play a bunch of
usually
guitar.
it's, hey, we'll take what he said and edit 15 minutes of it out. You know.
Never had a problem.
But then, okay, and then conversely,
I'm
I might
kidding.
cut you
I'm
off.
kidding. I will keep the 8-minute mark in my mind.
You
I
just
usually
kick 'em
can.
right in the shit. Like,
I usually can get 10 minutes out of a yes or no question.
Depends on whether Steve Vai is here on time.
Yeah.
Somebody missed a segment one day, and we're like, okay, how do we finagle this 10 minutes of content?
Yes. I remember being a kid, like, you know, one of my early years when we were like on this, you know, bill with multiple bands, and the band right after us didn't show up, and we were second to last. And so basically the night was over, and they were like, "Do you guys want to keep playing?" And we're like trying to figure out like how much material do we have.
Do this again.
Yeah. For those of you who
I've
weren't
done
here.
that before.
Yeah.
We're out of material, but there's still material, so what the hell?
Can we test your mic again, just to be sure?
Testing 1 2 test 1 2.
Check 2 3 4.
Yeah, that's good.
Keep
if
it
you
going.
if you hold it right about there, it's good. Otherwise, on the stream, it gets quiet. It might sound loud in here and it's quiet on there. Everybody's like the chat room.
It's like when somebody hands you know, the father of the bride a mic to do a toast, and he's like, and so he's like, turn it up. The microphone is, you know, just in his hand. But
Give it to Brad. Hey, Brad. Sammy's got that mandolin. Look. Look. You can put it down here. Put it down there. You don't see that at all. It's like an advertisement for that mandolin. Do you want to tell me which model that
It's
is?
a Diamondback F mandolin.
Diamondback F?
Yeah.
F style.
Because of the scroll.
Okay.
We'll come back for like an hour and a half. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Steve should be here by 2:40.
Okay. What time is it? What do you have a watch? We asked him for a clock right there.
I have a watch, but mine's still East Coast time, so
Well, I can tell
do the
by
math.
minutes.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
fine.
That's a cute little drum set.
It's an Avid. It's on
It's a kid set.
Hunter, are you like my security detail?
Back off, people.
We had a press conference last night that we would have thought the president. It was like Secret Service everywhere, like and it was unannounced, but it was tweeted I mean, it all went great. But it was,
Yeah. That's awesome. Did you do it in your room?
we have a room upstairs. Yeah.
Here?
Second floor. Yeah. Probably. Almost. No, I think it's on that side of the stairs. But it's pretty much directly above us.
Let's have John Mayer here.
Yeah. I'm really surprised he was able to work it out and do it.
Probably moving him around the show is not good.
He rolled in right before they took him through back things in the back door.
Speaking of that, recently with Pharrell, same thing. He
Yeah.
was like rolled in. It's awesome.
And the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, I would hate to have to live my life at that level of like where you're like, we actually had to send somebody that we don't have, like in the room, so that if he had to go, they actually send somebody to hold the stall. In case he had to go, we didn't know what, but it's like, just being able to do all this stuff. Now, granted, it's NAMM, so people would stuff, but I mean, it's not like you can walk around. Yeah. So what's the, where are we going to start with question one?
I'm going to start. I'm just going to ask you to tell me about the guitar.
Sure.
I'll ask you if you don't cover them already.
All good?
I'll do it all.
Hey, Gene. Hey, Gene.
Hi, guys.
What year was the Vela introduced? Was it last year or 2 years ago? Last year.
3, 2.
Hey everybody, this is Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events, and we're broadcasting live today from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California. It's a musical instrument convention, so today we're going to be talking about some awesome gear. We've also got some great players coming over. Steve Vai's up next at 2:40. We've got Nuno Bettencourt today. Lita Ford will be here. Gretchen Menn. So definitely stick around. We're going to be talking gear and music and lots more. So right here with me right now, I have Brian Ewald from PRS Guitars. Hey, Brian.
How you doing? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. How's the show going for you guys?
It's been fantastic. Very busy.
I just heard that you had John Mayer over there.
We did. John released a signature amp with PRS just days before NAMM, so he came in to do a press conference and demo it, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
Great
That's
sounding
wonderful.
amp.
So what do you got there? Tell us about this guitar.
So this is the PRS Vela. It's a relatively new model. It came out in the past year, but what the updated version for 2017, this model is a satin finish. It's a limited run. It's only going to be available order window for January and February, but it's an all nitro satin, very thin. You can see there's no grain filler in it, so the satin finish sinks right into the wood. It's very kind of worn in kind of vibe, but the neck feels great and worn in. It's a very different, if you're not familiar with the PRS line, it's a big departure from many of the guitars of the past. Great sounding single coil neck pickup, a lot of cool variety in it.
That's cool. So what kind of wood is that?
This is mahogany, all mahogany, neck through construction and rosewood fingerboard, and all the satin models come stock with a tortoiseshell pickguard too, which to me just adds a nice touch of zest.
Can you give us a little hint on like what kind of player might fall in love with that guitar?
Yeah, so it's, I mean, it can cover like, as you see this spot is pulled out, it'll split the bridge pickup into a single coil, and you can get these really cool, almost kind of spanky country tones out of it. It can get into the, a lot of the offset body style is new to PRS, this actual body design. So definitely more of a retro vintage. I mean, you can like a surf player, indie player, blues. I mean, actually, Hunter and I just did a Facebook Live on the PRS site with this guitar and this amp not that long ago. If you want to hear what it sounds like, you can check on the PRS site, and there's a very recent video of us just tooling around with it.
So if you go up on Facebook, PRS Guitars.
PRS Guitars
you
on
can
Facebook.
check out some live playing with this guitar. Well, that's very cool. So I see you got another piece of gear here. So I think we're going to hand off that guitar and we could talk about
Thank you. That's my security
your amp
detail.
that you brought from PRS.
Yeah, this is the this is one of the newest and most exciting things. The two amps that came out this past week were the John Mayer amp and then the Sonzera line. So Sonzera is by far the least expensive amp in the PRS lineup by almost half. It's a great price point. All of these are under $1,000. This is $799 at Streets 4. All tube, real spring reverb tank, 2 independent channels. There's a lot of variety. I've been using a 50-watt version of this. So this is the 20-watt combo. There's a 50-watt combo, and the 50 watts also available as a head. I use the 50-watt combo half of the time switching channels, but it's a great pedal platform too. Super versatile amps. I'd say very vintage flavor amps, especially compared to the other stuff in the line. There's an Archon, very modern high gain amp. This would really appeal to somebody looking for, the tones of like late 50s, early 60s single channel amps that break up when you drive them. But there's also a really great sounding drive channel too.
All right, that's awesome. And you said that there's multiple models in the line?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so within the PRS amp department, there's families like the Archons, the 2-channel custom, and now the newest Sonzera. They all have a low power and then a higher power option, and the higher power option is always also available as a head if you want. So this is the smallest and the least expensive in the 20-watt combo. 50-watt combo is a slightly larger box, and I believe that's $899, and then you can get the 50-watt in the head also. A lot of variety.
And I know these are brand new, but do you have any players using them?
Well, yeah, actually, Chris Robertson just cut the latest record, Blackstone Cherry. He's actually one of the beta testers. There's a guy named Bosco France who has been helped kind of kick the tires. Mark Lettieri from Snarky Puppy's been playing him. I've been a PRS artist for 10 years or so, but I just happen to be lucky enough to live down the street from the factory too, so I get to kick the tires of a lot of stuff.
Handy?
Yeah, it worked out really nice. So, even though it just came out, it's been a couple years in the making of getting the research and development and making sure they told me as we took out, when you're carrying it on stage, banging it into the wall, drop it down, make sure this is going to hold up. So there's it's been a long process, but I'm really glad they're finally out. It's one of my favorite amps, regardless of the price point.
Okay. We've just got a little bit more time, but why don't you tell me a little bit more about PRS for our viewers at Twitch who may not know about your company?
So Paul started building guitars back in the late 70s just on his own and opened his factory in 1985. So just a couple years ago, celebrated his 30th anniversary. But really started as a very small boutique, small team, very small factory, limited production, high-end guitars, kind of like a Ferrari of guitars. And over the years, they've worked really hard to find ways to bring guitars, both import guitars and even other US-built, hand-built guitars that come out of the same factory for lower price points. So there's an S2 line, which covers like $999 up to like $1,600. So really, any price point, there's a guitar, lots of variety, vintage style guitars, modern guitars, trem guitars, hollow bodies, and what they all have in common is Paul has probably one of the most remarkable bars he sets for himself in quality control. So he's a great guy. If you pop up to the booth to meet him, you'll know what I mean.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks
for
having
sharing
us.
that with us. This is Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events, and I'm live on Twitch TV here at the NAMM show. Coming up next, we've got Steve Vai. Hang out for 1 second while we get him on up here.
Thanks. Awesome.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Steve.
See you again.
How are you?
All right, I'm doing great.
Steve and I were partying a little bit last night. We were
Partying hard.
hanging. We were having a good time.
Very nice.
So, Steve, very exciting. We launched She Rocks Volume 1 last night at the She Rocks Awards. Why don't you just, for a minute, let's just talk about the album and the concept behind it.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's the kind of thing where I think if the guitar resonates with you, there's a pull, there's an attraction, and I think it resonates with most people. But through the years, it's been obviously dominated by male guitar players, and it's just the way things have evolved. But also in the last 30, 40 years, you see more and more women picking up the guitar and playing it and breaking down some barriers. And then once the internet hit and YouTube, this was a game changer because it allowed people the opportunity to be very creative, make their work shown immediately, and one of those sectors was female guitar players. So I started getting and seeing all these incredible players, you know, fascinating, you know, and one of the things I noticed was there's, you know, we have inherent sensibilities, masculine and feminine sensibilities. They're in both, you know, but the feminine sensibility musically on the guitar, it still has a lot of the aggression in a sense, but there's just a quality to it that's just a little different, you know, and it's evolving.
But still kick ass.
In some cases, it's brutally heavy, you know, but in the delicate cases, there's a nice dimension there too, you know. So I started seeing more and more of this, and really great players, beyond just novelty. Because I also have a label, and as someone that has a label, if I release something, it just needs to have the goods, you know. It's got to feel like creative, and the passion is in it. And I've started to talk to Brad Talinsky, my buddy from the guitar world, and we just started talking about this amazing revolution that's happening in the guitar community, because I travel all around the world and I see it all over. Even the audiences, usually it's like 95% men, and if there was women, they were dragged there by their boyfriend. But
not anymore, though.
Not anymore. There's actually fans that are coming that are female, and then so we started talking, and we talked about the idea of actually releasing a compilation of these incredible female guitar players. And Brad is he's a real music guy, you know. He's made a living listening to music, critiquing it. So he totally ran with the project, really, you know. And then he hooked up with you, you know, who has this incredible 5-year history with the She Rocks Awards, which is, you know, pretty vital at this time. And so you guys really did so much of the work on this record, really.
Thank you.
You really did. And it turned out fantastic.
Yeah. I actually got a little teary-eyed when I listened to the whole thing together. I was like, wow, I'm so proud. You know?
You really, it really is a nice, I don't think there's anything like it, really.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think so. So speaking of albums, you've been touring for the anniversary of Passion and Warfare. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
How's that going?
It was great. You know, it was the kind of thing where remastering and adding bonus tracks, and I finished recording a record that I started before Passion and Warfare and put it in the CD with the 25th release, and it's called Modern Primitive. And then we did a really nice tour, and it was fun because I had screens with friends and players that would come up and I'd jam with them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Virtual jamming?
Virtual jamming. And we just finished the tour. We did about 103 shows, which is kind of like, if I do my last tour before that was 255 shows in 52 countries, but this was, it was like a legacy thing, so I only did about half. But we may be going to South America and Australia in the summer.
Wow, fantastic. So I think a little birdie told me that it's also the anniversary of your gem guitar.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
30 years?
30 years.
I actually remember when that came out, and I was like, whoa, that's
cool.
different.
Yeah. It was one of those weird impulses where when I was making it, when I was designing it, I didn't have any expectations. I just thought, well, what would I like? And, just incorporated various idiosyncrasies to my playing. And I kind of like stick with things, like relationships, and I like long term. It just happens that way. And the gem, after Ibanez had made this guitar, I was completely in love with it, and I haven't really played anything else. I mean, I play other guitars here and there, but I always go back to the gem.
Okay. And did I see that you have something new out with Ibanez too, though? Is that right, or am I crazy?
No, well, we have the 30th anniversary, and what we're doing is re-releasing the original. Because, back in the 80s, when you get away with murder and wear all the weirdest clothes you want, and, what did I say last night at the awards? That's when we were all trying to look like women. I came out with these gem guitars, and they were pretty outrageous colors, They're like shocking.
Yeah, I remember that.
Shocking
neon.
Pink, neon, and like Loch Ness green and desert yellow. And they had monkey grip. So they were like completely the antithesis of anything that anybody thought would actually sell. But
the grip seemed very practical.
It was very practical because you can hold it, and that's why I put it in there, because of the first video I wanted to be able to go like this. But they re-released those for the anniversary.
Okay. So are you working on any new music that you want to share?
Well, I'm always kind of chipping away at the old iceberg, Yeah. But I just got back from tour, and I'm planning. This is one of my favorite times because it's before I'm actually starting a project. So you let all the ideas kind of guide you, and then you get these little aha moments, and you formulate a plan, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
You're in the formulation stage?
I'm in the formulations.
So we're here at NAMM. Mm-hmm. Have you seen any gear that you're like, yeah, that's cool? I
saw, there's one thing that I thought was really interesting. It's called A Little Thunder. And this guy, Andy Alt, who's actually a friend of mine, he has it, and it's this pickup that has a bass pickup sort of in it. So you can play, and the first two strings have a bass tone in them, an octave lower and all, and play. It's really kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So is there anything else going on that you'd like to share with our viewers on Twitch here?
Well, I know that this station is focused primarily on gaming and all.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. Do you play any games?
Well, a little bit. My boys are really into it. My son Julian is in, he plays Warcraft a lot, and his character is Doom, and he's way up there in the guild, because he's been playing his whole life so far, which is not uncommon. And it was funny with the gaming thing. And here we are. This is the She Rocks record. It has Orianthe, Yasi. Yasi was there last night. She's really great.
She was amazing.
She's great.
You sort of gave her a boost, got her going there, right?
Well, I've been following her since she was like 15.
Yeah.
And she is one of those people, like all these others, like Nita Strauss, Nilly, Gretchen Menn, and Yvette. What she does is so unique. And of course, you've got Jennifer Batten and Lita Ford, and these are like the queens in a sense, and Sarah Longfield, and Kat was there last night, and she was playing Kat Dyson, and she was just outstanding. And
she is great. Her bluesy vibe.
Yeah,
awesome.
The funky rhythm playing is really outstanding,
Yeah.
and of course Steph Paynes is fantastic. But anyway, I give music to the video games sometimes. So a bunch of them have my music in it. So when Guitar Hero was, I think it was Guitar Hero, one of those, they had one of my songs called "For the Love of God," right?
All right.
So my boys were playing that, and I started playing against them because I thought, well, I know the song. No way.
No way. Guitar Hero is not the same.
No, they kicked my ass. It wasn't fair.
Well, you don't have time to practice playing Guitar Hero. I mean, come on. Which is
No.
better? I'm not nothing is better. I'm not saying, you know.
Well, they're
but-
both good. You know what we...
But you know.
Well, you know what I discovered was statistically, people who picked up that game, many of them more ended up buying real guitars than who didn't. You know,
All right, go out there and play Guitar Hero then.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Steve Vai,
thank you
for
very
stopping
much,
by. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Congratulations on everything. And take care.
All right.
Hey, I'm Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events, and I'm here live from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California. It's a musical instrument show, so we're very psyched to share artists, gear, shenanigans, whatever's happening. So coming up next, we've got the amazing Command Sisters. They're two sisters from Canada who are so creative, so talented, and I'm psyched to bring them up here to talk to you. So hang tight for 1 minute. Coming up later, we've got Nuno Bettencourt, Lita Ford. We've got some great gear. We've got Gretchen Menn from Zepparella. So hang tight for just 1 minute while we reset the stage.
Testing, 1, 2. Hear me?
Are we good to come up? Yeah, come on up. Okay. Sarah, do you want to sit beside Laura? Ooh, you have a cool mic. Oh, that was probably me.
Hey, everybody. Are we on?
Hello? Whoop.
Are we on? Okay.
Okay.
Hi, this is Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events, and we're live from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California. Here with me now are the Command sisters, Sarah and Charlotte Command. Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Great.
So we're here at NAMM. Tell me, when was your first NAMM, and why did you attend?
Oh my gosh. So
know
our
this story
first
well.
NAMM was 3 years ago.
It was 2014.
And
Yeah, it was 2014, actually. Crazy. We were here, actually. That was the first time I think we met you. And we played at the She Rocks Awards. And it was, where was it? It was in a much smaller room, and just to see it grow from them, it was amazing. And so we actually played, we won the John Lennon Songwriting Contest that year. And so the prize was to come down to NAMM and perform on the main stage.
And ever since being there, we were just completely blown away from this world of music and musicians, and we've been hooked ever since. We've gone.
So you guys won a contest that the John Lennon Songwriting
Yes,
Contest had. And what was the song that you submitted for that? Do you remember?
You know, this is a crazy story, and I always bug Charlotte about it, was because she wrote a song about Alberta, which is our home province, and we now live in Toronto, so we grew up in the plains. And my sister wrote a song for a contest to write a song about Alberta, and she didn't place first, second, or third. And I always bug her about that because she ended up entering the same song in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest, which was an American contest, and ended up winning about a song about Alberta. So,
Oh, but see, we Americans love Canada. So
Eh?
there you go.
perseverance, right? It's crazy.
So give me a thought about maybe your favorite NAMM experience. Is there something that stands out to you guys? Is just something awesome that
Well,
happened
this
while
year
you're
kind of
here
took
in
the
Anaheim?
cake, I think. This year kind of took the cake. Well, we were at the She Rocks Awards last night, which Laura puts on. If you guys don't know, it's probably the most incredible women in music event I've ever been to, or in the world. Well, I got to talk to Steve Vai twice in the last couple days, and The Animal was on my first generation iPod when I was like 13 years old. So that's mine. What about you?
Gosh, I think every year it keeps getting better and better. Something more exciting always happens, and you always have more fun. Of course, that first NAMM was very special, but each year it gets better and better, I think.
But last year we got to sing for Shaka Khan, thanks to you, and this year with Ronnie Spector was like Just
Yeah,
incredible. She was
You're
so
sort
nice.
of reinventing all the Legends songs here. Maybe you need to do an album of that. I don't know.
No,
Just
we got to
saying.
take a selfie with her. She asked for a selfie backstage, so we were like, well, we can't say no to that. It's crazy.
So let's talk about gear for a minute. Why don't you guys talk about some of the instruments you play and what you like about them? Because we're here at NAMM, we got to talk gear.
Well, we absolutely love Martin guitar. We actually met Chris Martin 3 years ago at NAMM when we won that contest. It was a weird situation. He was getting a taco and saw us performing with our Martins, and ever since then we've really gotten to know them. So we are sponsored through Martin, but truly love the guitars, and the strings are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I play piano. I started out on piano, classical piano. I did the Royal Conservatory. I got my grade 8. Worked
job.
really hard for that.
Proud on you.
And yeah, both do piano, guitar. Sarah, guitar is her fave thing, I think. She does
What's your
all the
favorite
soloing.
piano?
My favorite piano, I have, gosh, I think we have a second-hand piano that was given to us at home, but I play Roland a lot. I have a big, heavy Roland keyboard, and it's great,
It's about
and
the
I
weight
love
of
it.
her, which is crazy. Yeah.
So I hear you guys have some new music coming out. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it and what we can expect maybe coming from you?
Well, we wrote this project actually in New York with a group of producers, and originally wasn't supposed to be an album. We just went for a songwriting camp and really worked sonically together. We ended up writing 7 songs in the span of 3 days, so it was like this wild creative process, and we never thought we were going to end up writing or releasing them, but we ended up falling in love with the songs that we spontaneously wrote. So we're going to be releasing that early 2017, and we're so excited to finally share.
It was definitely like a very experimental project for us because we had just come out of, singing country music actually, and we took 3 years to sort of develop our sound and who we were, and this was our first pop project officially, so it's so exciting to be finally releasing that this year.
Cool. I'd ask you to sing, but I know it's really hard to hear.
Wing it.
I don't want to put you on the spot. So, but trust me, it's super awesome. Beautiful pop, rock, country.
Oh, we could do some Ronnie Spector.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, do you want to
Can
do
you
it?
hear? Can you hear enough to do it?
Can we
Just for
hear?
a second. Just do a little. Okay.
Or you want to do the chorus?
Yeah. No, the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The night we met, I knew I needed you so. And if I had the chance, I'd never let you go. So won't you say you love me? I'll make you so proud of me. We'll make them turn their heads every place we go. So won't you please be my little baby? Say you'll be my darling. Be my baby now. Whoa, oh, oh, oh.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You saw it here live. All right, real quick, just our last question.
Yeah.
Do you have some advice that you would give to young musicians who want to pursue a career in music? Thoughts for them?
For me, I think, when I look back, probably out of 100 chances you take, realistically only 5 of them work out. But some people, get bogged down by the no's that they stop, and they prevent themselves from learning, and they prevent themselves from continuing to pursue their dreams. So I think finding those core group of people that really love you for you, and being yourself and confident in that, and persevering is definitely, I think, something I
would say definitely for me, something that's helped is knowing the real true reason why you're doing what you're doing, and just knowing who you are and staying true to that, because along the way there's bumps and there's things that come up, and I think when it gets hard, it's good to know like those reasons, those deep-rooted reasons. Then you can go back to those in your mind when those things maybe aren't going the way you expect them to, and then you can really think, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this, remember why you started doing it, and it'll kind of push you to keep going.
Yeah.
Thanks. I would agree with that. Like, people see your successes and they think it's so easy, and they don't realize like the 100 other times that you did not Things didn't work out.
Nothing worked out. Yeah, so true.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Why don't you let our viewers know where they can find out more about you?
Well, we have social media, all that stuff. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We've been posting our whole NAMM show experience as well as the She Roxx Awards all over our Instagram. So it's just at Command Sisters.
Yeah, and our website's the same, commandsisters.com. So.
Because our last name is Command and we're sisters, so pretty self-explanatory.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a good show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Give us just a second to reset. Coming up, we have, we have Avid, the makers of Pro Tools and other cool gear, technology, and fun creative tools. So hang tight just one moment. We'll be right back.
Next three people here. We have Avid, Divinity, and Elixir. We're no, we're good. We're okay. Yeah, like it's 2:59, so get them up here free.
Hey everybody, I'm Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events, and we're here live on Twitch TV, broadcasting from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California, talking about musical instruments, gear, talking to some celebrities, seeing what's going on at the trade show. There's like 100,000 people here, so we're pulling a few of them in to have a chat. And here with me now is Tony Caridi from Avid.
So I'm filling in. I'm the celebrity component of this, right?
Yeah, he's a celebrity in his own mind.
Yeah.
And so Tony, talk about what's new with Avid and like how you're formulating products that help today's musicians and the challenges that they have.
Everything we do now, really since the past 2-3 years now, has been all in fulfillment of what we call Avid Everywhere. Avid Everywhere looks at the industry, and we see a lot of things happening kind of in context. We see there's a lot of products like you can 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, there's a substantial investment just to do a demo. I mean, and today, more than ever, there are really powerful tools that are inexpensive and many times even free, whether they're on your mobile device or whatever. The tools are really good. So there are other challenges that we're faced. So it's no longer do I have the right gear. It's you know what, everybody has gear. So what are you going to do to really get your stuff to stand out in that really kind of crowded, with all that glut of content out there? So there's a lot of music competing. You go up on SoundCloud and there's millions of songs. How do you stand out? How do you differentiate yourself? So we want to give people to have those tools. We also want to give them the tools they need to potentially make a living if that's what they want to do in this industry, doing what they love. So help them get heard, hired, and paid. So some of the things we're doing, first of all, is we're keeping the products up to date. As we've had now 7 consecutive Pro Tools releases every quarter. Yeah, amazing. And at the end of this quarter, it's going to be 8. So it's going to be.
Do you guys ever sleep?
We sleep on New Year's Day, and then we start up again. It's a lot of work for sure. There's very much a kind of a startup kind of mentality at Avid now, because the truth is the industry has changed so much. We know we have to change too. So we're investing a lot in the products themselves. That's one. The second thing we're doing is we're continuing to kind of build out a platform so that people can offer other companies and other developers can offer solutions that people want, and yet our customers can use them really easily because they integrate, they plug right in. So a really good example of that is just at the show we announced that on our artist community, which you can get to by going to ac.avid.com. It's the Avid artist community. Kind of think of it like your networking profile for your music. So you have your profile information up there. We're now offering services to help people like you can sell your services if you're a mixer, or maybe you're a voiceover talent, or maybe you're a keyboard player. You can now sell your services there. And then, of course, then you can go right over to Pro Tools, use the cloud collaboration capabilities, and keep the creative momentum going. We also have had integrations by, so that's the Sound Better integration. The other one is by TuneCore, which is probably pretty well known by you and your audience. So you can sell your music directly from your artist community page. And then the third one is by SongTrust, and they facilitate you getting paid by your publishers and by the ASCAPs and the BMIs of the world. So they aggregate all of that licensing stuff for you and give you sync sound opportunities.
So you're saying if you make music and you want to get paid, you need to check out Avid's tools.
You got to go to avid.com, go to artistcommunity.ac.avid.com.
So tell us about what's new with Pro Tools and your latest updates there.
The most recent version, 12.6, was released just around Christmas time, and that the focus for that was a lot about music creation. So people, today when you're, especially folks that are just starting out, and people that are used to workstations, the software becomes an instrument in and of itself. So it's all the more important that they have, sounds accessibly, and they can, if they have an idea in their head, they can follow that through really quickly and efficiently before, much like a dream, it disappears. So we've included a brand new fresh loop library, and we've also introduced like a loop browsing capability so that you can quickly, just dial in if you're looking for material that's maybe hip hop or maybe a trance or maybe a country thing. You can quickly dial in whatever types of content you're looking for, and it helps you find it really quickly. And then we've also improved some of the collaboration capabilities in that release, kind of facilitating and organizing an easy way to do versions. So it happens in music, but it happens oftentimes if you're doing music for commercials. You do, well, let's try a version like this. Well, let's try a different idea. And traditionally people would rely on like saving a session copy but the file organization can be a bit of a headache when you do that. So this is a way that keeps it all organized for you, so you can just stay focused on the creative aspects and version till your heart's content.
That sounds great, because I'm a save as person. So.
Yeah, you never. That's the kind of the deadly thing about digital. It's like there's never.
And then you have like huge files everywhere.
You can keep iterating forever.
So you guys also are the makers of Sibelius notation software. So give us an update on what's happening with Sibelius.
Sibelius has had a number of updates too in the past year. Most recently, we updated Sibelius First, and that was something that hadn't been refreshed in a bit. So now it's up to the same level as the full version of Sibelius. So got a lot of those capabilities. And it's also somewhat new to the Sibelius family is the whole concept of subscription, which is something that's been extremely popular for Avid across the board, Pro Tools, Sibelius, and Media Composer. Sibelius was the most recent addition to that whole model. So now, the great part about that is, for sometimes if you want to go ahead and buy a piece of software, it's a lot of money out of pocket at one time. The great thing about a subscription is for under $20 or $15 a month, you can have these products and be using the same tools for much less money.
And then you're always up to date, right?
And you're always right, and you're always up to date. You never have to worry about missing an upgrade or like
you bought it and then it gets upgraded, a month later, and you're like,
that
darn.
goes away entirely. Exactly. What, does that happen to you?
Not me, no, but some of our viewers, that might happen to them.
Yeah.
So you guys work a lot in the education space. So can you talk a little bit about how Avid is helping to create the next generation of music makers and audio folks, and what are you doing in education?
Really important that for us. It's important for us as a society, for sure. So what we're doing is we're trying to give the educators and those institutions everything they need to make it easy for them to implement our courses. So we have a certification. We were really early on. We've been doing this for over 15 years, offering certifications in different products through our Avid learning partners. So some of the things we've done to help them is we keep all of the curriculum up to date. We have also started leveraging more online courses. So now there's a whole online initiative for the Avid Learning Partners. And part of that is a partnership with lynda.com. And it really helps them extend their reach so to make these courses available to a much bigger audience, because not everyone lives nearby an Avid Learning Partner. And then there's really practical things that we're trying to do to help it too. So we've introduced a way for them to manage their licenses, because with Pro Tools especially, you have this physical USB iLock, and that if you have 50 or 75 of those, it can be a real headache to manage that as a school. So we've introduced a server-based licensing, so students can literally log in from a terminal, and it's all handled over the server. And there's a lot more things we've got planned over the next few months to take the education thing even further.
I always look back now and say, man, if only I had that when I was in school.
Right, and we've got awesome education pricing too. You can get Sibelius Pro Tools Media Composer for for $9.99 a month.
Wow.
It's amazing. You can buy it outright. Pro Tools you can buy outright for $299. So it's really, really affordable across the board if you're a student.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Thank you for stopping by and sharing what's new with Avid with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Hope you have a great show.
It's a great show.
And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
See you soon. Thanks.
All right, coming up next, let's see who's coming up. We got Divinity Roxx. Nope. We've got Divinity coming up, but a surprise jump in is Lita Ford. We're going to be talking to Lita. Woohoo! So hang tight just for 1 second. We'll bring Lita up.
I don't know if I should sit here.
It's fine. We're live. Hey, this is Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events. We're live from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California, talking about gear, talking about music, and right now we're talking to the incredible, amazing queen of guitar, Lita Ford. Hey, Lita. How are you?
Just waking up from
waking up?
last night. How awesome was last night?
Yeah, so last night you were honored with a She Roxx award. You played some kick-ass guitar. Tell us about your experience.
A lot of good guitar players last night. We were just talking. To be on stage with 7 women guitar players, I don't think.
Has that ever happened?
Not in my lifetime.
Maybe not ever. I don't know. 7 pro guitar players and Lita up there rocking.
Yeah, and Marshall, they're so wonderful. Marshall amplification and Jim Marshall. I wish Jim Marshall could have been here to see.
Yeah.
I'm very proud.
Why do you think it's important to recognize women in the industry with an event like the She Roxx Awards?
It's changing the face of music. It's changing the face of rock and roll, and we're becoming a huge part of that change. Yeah. It's a universal language. There was one Lisa Loeb, I believe it was, that spoke last night. I don't know her, so I don't know her last name, but different style of music. But she was trying to say that rock and roll is a universal language. She was trying to say that, and she was going around, kind of beating around the bush, looking for the right way to say it. And I'm thinking it in my head, it's like something
hey,
we can all,
Lisa.
Yeah.
We're all in it.
Yeah.
So tonight you're presenting at the Tech Awards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are out there. So tell me, are there any engineers or producers that stand out to you throughout your career?
Oh. I have a lot of people that I've worked with, and Mike Chapman, as a producer, was my favorite. He produced a lot of stuff for Tina Turner. Him and Holly Knight were songwriting partners. They wrote Simply the Best, Better Than All the Rest. I mean, what a great song. All those songs they wrote. We Don't Need Another Hero, Thunderdome. That's Michael Chapman. And his engineer that he had was George Tutko. He was amazing behind an analog console, because a lot of this stuff was analog, not digital. But those two, I'd say, are my number one picks.
So I might have heard somewhere that you have some new music in the works. Is that true?
We've started, yes. Yes, Gary Hoey and I. And I actually thanked Gary last night because he's such a big part of my comeback into the music industry. He really took me at a time when I needed someone to believe in me and not just say, she's been around too long, or, she's been gone too long and doesn't have it anymore. Gary just said, this woman can sing and she can play, and we're going to, hang out in the studio. We hung out for 1 year in that studio. We wrote Living Like a Runaway, the entire album, which is monstrous.
That's fantastic. So we're here at NAMM. Let's talk about guitars a little bit, about your gear. So,
okay.
You played your iconic double neck guitar last night. Like, tell us a little bit about your go-to guitars and what makes you happy when you're playing.
Well, that guitar last night was built by Bernie Rico Sr., the originator of BC Rich Guitars. He used quite different techniques than the guitars that are built today. It's kind of like the cars, the way the cars are built today and the way the cars were built, early 80s. They just had more beef in the early 80s. They were tougher and stronger and heavier, and that guitar weighs 15 pounds, and I had some of it shaved away because it was too big. So it's an 81 guitar. It says, "We love you, Lita." And it's a prototype, and it says the date.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So 12 string on the top neck. It has a flanger and a phaser built into it. Little switches, you can switch them off or on if you want. And then the bottom neck, there's a preamp, and you just hit the switch, and you got a slamming 6-string for leads.
That's awesome. And you're a Marshall artist, right?
Oh, yes.
So which amp is your preference?
Yes. Marshall has, what would the world be like? What would the rock world be like without Marshall?
Not nearly as awesome.
Marshall can make any sound, anything. They've got so many different choices of amplifiers. Do I want the 2000 or the 900 or the 800? Well, I play the DSL, which sounds like God. Or death, I should say. You turn it on and you take off that standby, and you can hear the hiss. And everyone looks at me like, can you get rid of that hiss? No. You know how many years it took me to get that hiss? I'm not taking it away.
It's your signature hiss. Speaking of signature, you have some signature strings with Dee Markley, right?
Yes.
So tell us, what's your set? What makes them special for you?
The 3 higher strings are a little bit heavier. They're reinforced gauges, and the lower strings are from the 9 set. So you can really bend the high strings, because I'm a bendy person. I like them. Just when you think you've bent enough, I like to push it over the top. So those strings are reinforced and they can take the bending.
So ballsy on the bottom, bendy on the top. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So you released a book last year, and what was the most satisfying part about getting your story out there into the universe?
Oh my God, getting that book done and out. It took me 5 years to write that book. It was relentless. It almost killed me. But I had to tell the truth. I had to tell stories that I wanted people to know, that they just seem to go round and round and tell the same crap. It's like, dude, it goes beyond that. Tell the story. So I wanted to get that in my book. I wanted to talk about my family because not a lot of people know about that.
They're giving us the
end
we
up
got 2 minutes.
coming back into the music industry, and here we are today.
Yeah.
You know? So
Well,
it's-
welcome back into the music industry.
Yeah.
What can we expect from you in 2017, Lita?
A new album.
New album, lots of touring.
Of course. Of course. I got to catch up with Lizzie Hale, who's in New Zealand. So.
Yeah. I want Lita Ford to come to Boston so I can see you play live.
Yeah, I love
I'm
Boston.
I'm waiting for you.
All right, I got to go.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank
love you
Lita
guys.
Ford. All right. Thanks, Lita. Take care. All right, that was Lita Ford here on BackStory Events, live from the NAMM show. Coming up next, we've got the most killer funkified bass player you've ever seen, you've ever heard, and you'd ever want to hear, Miss Divinity Roxx with 2 X's, double X. Here she is.
How you doing?
Hello, look at you.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Good.
You look fantastic.
You look fantastic.
So, Divinity, what's happening?
What's up, man? Last night was killing. It's a beautiful day for
It's a
women
beautiful
to
day.
be protesting all around the world.
We're making music, we're protesting,
We're celebrating each other.
That's right, we're celebrating.
I love
We're
that.
kicking some behind. It's all good. So, let's start by talking about your recent album that you
Yes.
released. Why don't you tell us the backstory about the concept behind the album and what's happening with it?
So I just released an album in April. It's called I'm Possible. You know, sometimes you look at the word impossible, and I tell people that the word I'm possible is staring you right in the face. So, you know, sometimes as women, as musicians, we feel like our lives are impossible, that our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations, you know, people tell us that those things that we are incapable of doing those things. And I say that every time somebody tells you something is impossible, the word I'm possible is staring you in the face. So you just look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm possible, and I'm going to pull this off. It's a very personal album. I wrote and produced a lot of these songs, and took a band in the studio, and we did a 10-day lockout, and we just went for it. I'm super proud of this album. It's super musical. It's beautiful. If you get a chance, please check it out.
You know, when I saw the title of your album, it did kind of blow my mind because, like, I never realized that the word I'm possible is an impossible.
That's beautiful.
I'm like, what? Yeah. So you led the house band last night at the She Rocks Awards, and of course you kicked butt as usual. But I'm guessing that was a tricky event to prepare for. Can you give us a little insight into what you do to prepare for an event like that?
So Laura and I, you know, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I really enjoy doing that type of stuff. I enjoy the bumpers and the stingers and
No way,
playing
she's
with so
cursing
many
me.
different
Like-
artists. No, it's awesome. Laura, where did we saw each other somewhere, and we looked at each other in December and said, we need to get this show together.
New York. I saw her play in New York at the Iridium, and we were like, wait, I guess we got to get this show on the road.
We got to get this show together. So she sends me all the music. This is how it usually works. I get all the music, go over the music, start sending it out to the musicians. We all chart it. And then I come up with bumpers and stingers because she always has incredible honorees. Now, this year, I went through every honoree's bio. So every song we played I wanted it to be personally tailored for them. So that was a lot of fun.
I could tell you did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it was a lot of
it's
fun. It's a
very
beautiful
cool.
show. If you're ever in Anaheim during NAMM, She Rocks Awards.
we live streamed it last night on parade.com, and we'll probably have some video content up that folks can check out too. If you want to go to SheRocksAwards.com, we'll be sharing some highlights. So We're here at NAMM.
Yep.
Tell us about your gear. What do you play?
I play Warwick bass guitars. I play a 5-string custom streamer. I play a bass that is made out of maple wood. I have a maple neck with a Wingay fretboard. I play a 4-string and a 5-string. My favorite right now is my 4-string. It's white. It's absolutely beautiful. They make beautiful instruments. I also play the Warwick LWA head through the Warwick 410 cabinet. Yeah.
And what about your amp? What do you use there?
I use the Warwick. They're making amps now, which is beautiful. Yeah, it's actually kind of cool. So it's all in-house, and I just saw my people over there in the convention center. Want to give them big hugs and kisses for taking good care of me.
We like that. We like when a gear company takes good care of you.
Yes.
So, have you walked around the show at all? Have you seen anything interesting that
Just a
distracted
little
you?
bit.
That you said,
Well, just a little bit. I just went to go see go see my sponsors, and I had to run over here, so I didn't get a chance to really look around. I know that there's a piece of gear called the Black Box. It's a preamp. It's a brand new preamp, and the guy Eric Rossi, who engineered my album, he created this Black Box. So I can't wait to go check it out. Plug in my bass to it. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. So, what can we expect from you in 2017? What's coming up for you?
Man, I'm just going to be all over the world, spreading this message of love, spreading this message of women's empowerment, kicking some butt on the bass guitar, writing, producing, and touring, doing quite a bit of touring this year.
I heard you might be touring with some interesting ladies. You should tell us about it.
It's top secret.
Oh, it is? Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't share that then. Is it really?
What are you talking about exactly?
Well, you told me you're going to be in Boston, so...
Oh, yes, I can talk about that. Okay, so a lot of people may know that
which top secret project?
Yeah, I have quite a few. So the original all-female Beyonce band, we're going to have a 10-year anniversary. It's been 10 years. Can you believe that? 10-year anniversary concert at Berklee College of Music. Tia Fuller is a professor there, and she's bringing us all out. So we haven't played together as a band, and we certainly haven't played any Beyonce songs in a long time. So,
are you guys going to play Beyonce songs?
Of course,
yeah,
we got to play some Beyonce songs.
Who's in that band with you?
I'm on bass. There's Tia Fuller. She plays saxophone. Kathy Rodriguez is on saxophone. I wonder if Crystal Torres is playing trumpet. Nikki Glaspie on the drums. Rie. Oh, I can't believe Rie Suji on keys. I forgot Rie's actually coming. And also Brittany Washington on keys. And Marcy Chapa on percussion. I always worry if I'm going to leave somebody out, you know.
If we leave somebody out, it's completely unintentional.
Absolutely. Those are my girls. It's going to be fun.
So I know you're going to be playing in Boston at Berklee, right? Are you guys doing any other dates? Or?
I don't know. Now, that's what's top secret. Whether or not we'll do more dates.
Okay. Well, if you happen to be in Boston, and when is it happening?
It's at the end of February, last week
of
of February.
So if you can stand to be in Boston at the end of February, bring your mittens and your scarf. And come see Divinity play with the ladies from the Beyonce band.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a name for this band?
No, man. We always, maybe it's the Sugar Mamas. I think that's our name, the Sugar Mamas.
Sugar Mamas, I like
Sugar
that.
Mama.
All right, well, thank you so much. Is
Thank
there
you.
anything else happening that I didn't ask you about that you would like to share with the planet?
No, I mean, I'm just going to be doing some dates around all my dates in my head, I can't remember them. But I just would like to say thank you. Thank you for the work you do. This woman works hard. She really does. And you can feel the love. Last night, so many women walked up to me and told me that it was an emotional show for them. And that is beautiful because there's something happening in our country that, in a way, I'm actually happy it's happening because it's bringing people together and creating the type of movement that we've been needing to see for some time. So keep doing the work.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, lady.
All right, see you soon.
Thanks for sharing.
Hello.
All right, take care. All right, hey, I'm Laura Whitmore. We're here with BackStory Events live from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get a drink of water. We'll be right back in like 2 minutes, so don't go anywhere. We've got Nuno Bettencourt coming up. We've got Gretchen Menn. We've got some really amazing and beautiful guitars that we're going to share with you guys. Just cool stuff. I'm telling you, stick around. Thanks.
when. Itch my nose.
Get that out of the way.
Get that out of the way. Itch your nose. Okay, you ready to tell some jokes?
Man, I got so many jokes. Jokes for days. Get ready.
String jokes? Hey, Brad Talinsky here on Twitch TV. We're coming to you live from the 2017 Anaheim NAMM show, musical instruments. We're here, we're talking to all sorts of cool rock and roll people and great manufacturers and finding out the latest on gear and music news and all sorts of great stuff. Anyways, we're back. And we have Justin here from Elixir Strings.
How you doing?
So, sort of everybody, says, picks and strings. Like, what's so special about that?
Right,
okay.
right.
So we've got you here to tell us what's so special about strings.
So,
and Elixir Strings in particular.
So if you think about it, when you put your strings on a guitar, you're right. People sometimes, they don't always think about how important strings are to their tone. But really, the strings are the first thing between you and your instrument. It's the first thing that's going to make the sound. So whether you're playing acoustic or playing electric, it's important, right? It's the first thing that's going to decide your tone. So having the right strings is going to transfer through all of that all the pedals, all the amps that you have. So you got to get that tone right at the start.
So what makes Elixir here? Hold that baby up. Right there.
So Elixir strings are a little different because we're coated strings, right?
Okay, you can put it down now.
Oh, okay, right. So all of our strings are coated. So what we do is we provide long tone life. So all of our strings sound good for a really long time, right? And that's what the coating does. Protects the gaps between the windings. So that's what's important. So keeping your tone longer.
And everybody knows musicians don't have any money.
That's right, that's right.
So you need to make those strings last as long as possible.
Changing your strings less often, exactly.
Yeah. So is this something new this year, or is it something different for you guys, or is it a...
Yeah, so these are our new electric strings. These are the OptiWeb coated electric strings. And what we did was we were working with thousands of guitar players over the last 2 years to try and get it right for them. And what players were asking for was a string that sounded like an uncoated string, felt like an uncoated string, but still had long tone life. They wanted the best of both worlds. So they're asking for everything, and that's what we're delivering on. Yeah. So really giving them a string that right when you put it on your guitar, straight out of the package, it sounds like an uncoated set. It's going to feel more like an uncoated set than anything we previously offered. And it has a long tone life that people expect from Elixir strings.
So who are some cool guitar players that you worked with or who use Elixir strings?
So Wayne Summerman from Imagine Dragons is one.
Oh, that's cool.
You like put me on the spot, man. I'm totally blanking now.
Just like Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page.
You said that, not me.
All these guys use Elixir strings. So, anyways, what else are you guys doing at the show that's interesting?
So at NAMM, what we're trying to do is just get the sets in people's hands. So give them a chance to try them out. So at the booth here, we got stations set up for people to come by and play the strings. We've had a lot of people come by and give some great feedback and just have a chance to hang out and talk to everyone, get the feedback. It's been great.
I mean, have you had a chance to walk around the show at all? Have you seen anything that you thought was groovy that you'd like to share?
I've had some time. I get stuck at the booth because it's just been so crazy, but it's been cool to walk around and see a lot of the like synthesizer manufacturers, some of the really cool off-the-wall stuff that you don't get to see every day. So it's just a ton of stuff to check out. You could be here for days just walking around seeing all kinds of neat stuff.
Absolutely. No cool guitars, synthesizers?
I haven't had a chance to get around that much, man. What I really want to do is I want to see some of the new pedals that are out. That's what's really fun for me.
Yeah. I've seen some really cool ones. Earthquaker, you have to go to
Earthquaker device
Earthquaker.
is amazing. JHS, it's endless. There's so mmany.
Okay, well, Justin, thanks for coming by and
no problem. Thank
sharing Elixir strings with us. And we're going to bring up our next victim.
Thanks again.
Okay, thank you. This is Brad Talinsky on Twitch TV, reporting live from the Anaheim, the 2017 Anaheim NAMM Musical Instrument Convention. We're looking at gear, and we're talking to cool artists. Up next, we're going to be talking to a band from my hometown of Detroit, Michigan, Citizen Zero. But first, we have to get an extra chair on stage here for the guys.
Hey, 1, 2.
This is Brad Talinsky, Twitch TV. We're at the 2017 NAMM Musical Instrument Convention in Anaheim. And I've got a couple of cool guys as my special guest today, Citizen Zero. They're a band from Detroit, which is my hometown.
Yes.
So what's going on, guys? What brings you to NAMM?
Music brought us to NAMM. Brad, yeah.
Just music.
Pretty much, yeah. And toys, yeah.
You guys have a new record coming out?
We actually just released our first record, State of Mind, on Razor and Tie Records, and that just came out in August of 2016. So just releasing the second single now and working it out on the road constantly.
So what is the name of this record?
State of Mind.
Gotcha. So I've known Sammy here for a while.
Yes.
When I was editor of Guitar World magazine, we brought Sammy in to do all sorts of cool instructional video stuff. He's a fantastic guitar player. You definitely should pick up Citizen Zero, not only to hear Josh sing, but the amazing fretwork of Sammy over here.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, you really took a chance on us when we were a local band playing in Detroit, so yeah, it means the world. This is our first time meeting in person, but yeah, it's a pleasure.
So have you had a chance to look around the show? Have you seen any cool guitars?
Some amazing, yeah, we were just at the Gibson booth upstairs checking out the new 2017 Gibsons, and we've been hanging out in the Friedman booth as well, Friedman amps, so they got rolling out a lot of new products too.
So you're a Les Paul guy, right?
Yeah.
Les Pauls. And what amps do you use?
Friedman amplifiers. The actual model I play is called a Brown Eye 100, BE 100. And I play a Les Paul Access, is the type of Les Paul.
I'll tell you, if any of you guys, guitar freaks out there, I mean, probably most of you know how great a Gibson Les Paul sounds, but Friedman amps are totally kick-ass, right?
Insane, yeah. It's the best amp I've ever played, hands down.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could remember when those guys first hit the scene and everybody, there was like this huge buzz, like, if you really want to get the real Van Halen Marshall sound, you definitely want a Friedman.
That's it, man, yeah. And believe it or not, Dave Friedman's actually from West Bloomfield, Michigan. So
he's a homeboy too.
Yeah, he's a Michigan boy too, but.
So what's going on in Detroit? What's going on in Michigan these days?
We're
it's the hip.
Despite the popular belief, there's still people there. You know, I mean, it's a city that's alive. Go figure, yeah. But it's cool to leave and then come back and then kind of find new ways to just like rebirth the appreciation for Detroit. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. What are the good places to play there these days? What are the good clubs to play in Detroit?
I mean, there's still legendary places. I mean, St. Andrews is still around, which is awesome.
That's probably my favorite in Detroit. We play the Machine Shop in Flint, Michigan a lot too, which is that's kind of like home base for us. But downtown, probably St. Andrews, I'd say too.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, we have the Detroit Fillmore, which used to be the State Theater. which obviously I'm sure you've seen a couple shows there, I would imagine.
So yeah, I played St. Andrews back in the day. There's a bunch of places that probably aren't around anymore. Bookies.
Give us some. What do you got?
Trying to think of where else I used to play. It was Bookies. I remember that was a big Paychecks.
Paychecks is no more, but that's a pretty legendary place too.
Lilies, of course, the legendary Lilies.
I've heard of
where,
that one.
Iggy Pop and David Bowie and all those guys used to hang out. So are you guys getting out of Detroit? Are you touring at all? Is there like places where people out here can come and see you?
Yeah, we start, I can't remember the name of the theater that we're in here in LA, but yeah, we start in February out with Amaranth, and out all February and most of March, and then home for a little while, and then we start hitting like a festival season with Carolina Rebellion and Rock USA and yada, yada, yada.
Cool. Well, one thing that, I mean, if you're a guitar freak out there, or you're a player, you want to learn some new licks and stuff, definitely go up to Guitar World, okay, and just type in Sammy Bowler, okay? And he's got all these great lessons that he did for Guitar World. Can you tell me like what that experience was about, and are you still doing stuff?
I am. That completely changed my life, man. You probably have no idea, but yeah, even now I still get emails, asking questions about the lessons and all that. But yeah, the column is called Secrets of Shred. And yeah, it's pretty much just, it's more of like a conceptual type column, how to get around the guitar neck and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm still working with them.
What's something new that you've learned?
From working with Guitar World?
No, what are some new secret shred licks? What have you been working on?
I've been working on it with a lot of kind of like 8-finger tapping, that kind of stuff. That's what I've been into lately. Not only using
some Night
it for
Ranger stuff.
Yeah, Absabradulus, absolutely. Not only with for soloing, but also coming up with kind of rhythm parts and riffs using that technique as well. That's been the main thing lately. Among others, you're always searching for the next thing.
Yeah. I mean, did you play keyboards or anything like that? Is that what I mean? How did you get around being able to do that, developing that independence with your left hand?
It's one of those things where I'm still working on it, but yeah, I did start on piano. I started on piano when I was really young. I started playing guitar when I was 10, but yeah, I guess that's kind of a good way to think about it. It's like the left hand like on the piano and then the right hand, doing the melody,
but no, just guitar stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely a guitar player.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's cool to finally meet you, Sammy, and like I said, check out his column on guitarworld.com. You can learn all sorts of new stuff, and looking forward to hearing from your band and hearing you play more.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks for having us.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you.
Laura's going to talk about the mandolin review.
Brad Talinsky here, Twitch TV. We're reporting live from the 2017 NAMM convention. And
Hey, Brad.
I have Laura Whitmore up here. And what's this? She's got a little guitar with her.
Really little. So I just thought I'd share something cool that I saw on the NAMM show floor today. It's Weber Mandolin's 20th anniversary this year, and they have some beautiful handcrafted mandolins. This is a Diamondback F, and look at the back. So super cool.
Nice.
And they're all handcrafted in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to share this cool little mandolin. And I know you play the mandolin.
I do play the mandolin.
So I just wanted to know some thoughts from you, like what should somebody think about if they want to get into mandolin or they're looking for a mandolin, or just give us some mandolin insight.
I got to tell you, what's really cool about playing mandolin is that even if you're like a rock guitar player, or you're in a band and you want to do like cool overdubs when you're recording is you want to add a sprinkle of something light on the top of it, is you could play the simplest chords on the mandolin, and it automatically just sounds great with anything that you do on the guitar. And even though I've sort of, I personally love to use it as a lead instrument, I think, mandolin, you're basically dealing with, it's got 8 strings on it, but it's really easy to learn especially if you play another instrument, those basic D, C, G sort of chords, and it can really make any sort of recording track come to life.
Do you want to play this mandolin?
No, I don't, because I have this thing in my hand, and I don't have a pick with me, and with a mandolin, you really need a pick.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just thought, so I just want to know, have you seen anything cool?
Is it tuned, do you know?
You know?
Listen, I'll play a couple of chords.
Hang on 1 second. I will mic you. Good. Here we go, Brad Talinsky. There you go. Thank you. I've never heard Brad play mandolin before. Here, you can hand me that mandolin. Oh, anyway. All right, I think we've got somebody. We've got Collings Guitars coming up next. I'm going to get out of your way, and we'll bring on the beautiful and fantastic Collings Guitars.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura.
You just center these chairs a little bit. I've been asked. It's probably fine.
Brad Talinsky here, live on Twitch TV from the 2017 NAMM convention in Anaheim. And next up, we have the geniuses from Collings Guitars.
Good word.
Some of the most beautiful instruments in the world are made by Collings, some of the best sounding acoustic guitars.
Thank you very much.
I can't afford one personally,
yes, you
but I love listening to them.
All our dealers take plastic, so it's easy for you.
So you brought one of your guitars with you today.
Yes.
Which is this part of the T series that I've been hearing about?
Yes.
Okay,
the guitar,
man. Here.
We go here. Yeah, this is one of our new T series guitars.
Hang on 1 second while we get ourselves organized here a little bit.
That's a good idea. I'm going to stand this up.
Hey, Tom, could you just take that? Yeah, thanks.
I'm going to stand up between us here. There you go.
There we go.
Is that solid back there? Yeah.
That works.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, good. That's what they have editing for.
Haha. Here, let me. I can. Okay, you got it.
How's that? Yeah.
So, anyways, the Collings guitars have just been legendary forever for just really being among the most beautiful sounding acoustics ever. And what can you tell me about this new T series? It's a beautiful looking guitar.
Thank you very much. Yes, we've been building acoustic guitars for 40 years, and all kind of traditionally oriented guitars, based stuff on old guitars from the 30s and stuff. And a couple of years ago, Bill Collings was talking about, I think he's been playing more and listening more, and from his years in the 70s of repairing guitars and trying to make guitars that would hold up better than a lot of the guitars he worked on, put back together, he made guitars kind of strong and loud, with this kind of Collings tone that we've been known for all these years, from kind of a crystalline, clear, loud. In the last couple of years, he's kind of wanted to bring out some more fundamental and the single note stuff, a little more of the mid-range, and so we decided on the traditional series, not only through appointments, aging toner, yellow pearl, a different herringbone, to use some lighter weight woods, lighter weight neck block, tail block, some thinner tops and lighter weight tops and backs and sides, extremely thin, 0.003 of an inch nitrocellulose lacquer finish, to break out, change a little different fundamental in the tone.
So it's sort of an interesting thing, and I mean, I personally dig it in a way, is that when you look at the Collings guitars, there's nothing super fancy about them in terms of they're beautiful looking, but there's nothing super fancy about the inlays or anything. But they just sound great. It seems like you guys really just focus on getting the job done.
Well, that's what we've been known for a long time. It's kind of a Collings tone, and the fit and finish, and the build quality. And yes, we can put fancy inlays and stuff on guitars, and we do that on some occasion, but the main focus for us has just been on the tone and the construction quality and stuff, and that's kind of got us through the last 40 years, and I'm sure will take us through the next 40.
So I've heard something about your cases.
Well,
and that's not something that people talk about all that much, is guitar cases. But when you think about it, you buy this nice expensive guitar, or you buy any kind of guitar, you want a really good home for it. What can you tell me about it?
That's kind of, Bill Collings is an engineer to the nth degree. He's from a family of engineers. And over the years, he just kind of kept wanting to, there we go, thank you very much. The lovely and talented Mr. Tom. He wanted to design a case that would befit the Collings guitar. He wanted a nice home for his guitar. So he worked for about five, almost 6 years on designing based on very vintage-inspired cases, molded plywood, nice lines. The hinges are thicker than steel than most other hinges. They fit tighter so they won't wear as much. The latches, we found some latches made from old luggage latches from the 40s, had those tweaked and redesigned. There's nothing off the shelf on this case. You'll notice no stitching. We custom mold the foam for the neck rest pads to fit the neck rest. We had a custom handle made because this fits the shape so nice. You got a tighter radius in here. And we had to make a longer handle, so we own the tooling on the handle, which was thousands and thousands of dollars. Welded inner core, so the D-rings don't come off. The D-rings are welded, nickel plated. The handle matches the fabric, even the lining on this where there's no stitching, the grain in the vinyl. Even the grain on the vinyl for the lining, for the trim piece matches the grain on the case. We crushed the rayon velvet ourselves at the shop. No one would kind of take something like a case to this level, and to watch him kind of do this for 5 years, every piece that he would sweat over and how it was going to impact the whole case and keep it light, the balance right, and he wanted a nice garage for our Ferraris, basically.
It's funny, it almost takes me back to one of my first guitars that I ever owned. I had a Gibson ES 330. It's a beautiful guitar. And I just remember, you just brought it back, I just remember how good the case was for it.
Well, we're
and
trying
I
to
think
bring,
that they used to make cases better, maybe.
Well, they've had to, cases are a functional accessory to a guitar. But when you look at some of the cases from when you're talking about that, we're trying to, I guess, not only bring sexy back in cases, but it's really, if you can flex the top on this thing, it's quite protective, even though it doesn't have 1.5 inches of padding. It's got the right density for the foam around the outside. It's stiff. It's just the ultimate case. No one else would kind of take it so far except Bill Collings.
Very cool. So Steve, in addition to the T-Series and the case, are there any other new guitars that you'd like to tell us about from Collings this year?
Sure. At the show this year, we have a new parlor guitar, which is the first time we've done something quite that small. It's based on, again, a 30s guitar. We have a baritone acoustic guitar we brought this year for the first ever, 27.5-inch baritone scale guitar. A baritone electric guitar. We have a new model in our Waterloo line of guitars, so you should come back down. You should come down to the booth and check them out in a minute.
I absolutely will come down to.
And speaking of 330s, we have something similar to that down there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I would be very curious to check that out.
Please do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for coming by and bringing the case and the
it's a pleasure.
Guitars and
thank you very much.
All that stuff and being our guest.
Anytime. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Try to handle 2 or 3 things, but thanks to Tom, we may have pulled it off.
So we got Todd with Soundslice.
Okay. ready? Hey, this is Brad Talinsky on Twitch TV. We're reporting live from the 2017 NAMM Musical Instrument Convention. And we're bringing you the inside scoop on all the latest gear. We are bringing interesting musicians. And we have somebody with us right here, Todd Pritchard from Soundslice, who's somewhere in the middle. He's almost a rock star in his own right. A lot of you people out there might know him. He does interactive lessons online with a company called Soundslice.
Yes, sir.
And so tell me about this whole thing and how it all got started.
So it all got started when somebody that was friends with the owner of the company transcribed one of my videos online, and I saw it, and I was just immediately blown away at how the notation synced up with the video, and you can slow it down and learn at your own pace. So I immediately contacted Corey over at Soundslice to see how I could get my stuff on there and basically be able to sell my lessons. And it's a great way of having passive income and being more creative and being able to get more content out online, you know?
Well, there's a lot of people online that are doing lessons these days, but you've been particularly successful. What is the key to I don't know, people watching you as opposed to many of the other things? What do you think? What do you try to do in your lessons?
Well, I think it has to do with the particular style of music that I play. What's really popular right now is neo soul and R&B music. Yep. So I incorporate those elements, and I also have rhythmic elements in there as well. So it's kind of like a one-man band sort of thing. And what's cool about the grooves that I play is they're catchy, so I feel like people are more drawn into the music as opposed to just going through scales and chord charts. And so the music, they feel the music first, and then they learn through that as an etude, as opposed to just kind of learning something random and not really knowing how it fits together.
Yeah. So so if somebody's not familiar with your music, like how would you're talking about neo soul, like who are some of the artists in this world that you're talking about?
Well, I'm from Philadelphia, and there's a lot of great neo soul artists that come from there, and that's particularly where I learned this style of music. So like The Roots, Music Soul Child, Dwelle, and artists such as those three in particular are very popular, but it's moving into electronic music now. You hear that style coming in, and it's just generally heard in a lot of different styles. It's moving into, you know how different styles are crossing over now, so you're hearing it in a lot of different places now.
So I'm older than you, so when I think of Philly soul, I think of the Spinners.
Okay, yeah.
And stuff like that, which is still cool today.
Yeah.
You know.
So I guess The Roots and that style is like the next generation right after that, like late 90s, early 2000s.
What do you think are the advantages of, I don't know, learning stuff online as opposed to going out and finding a teacher?
Well, one thing in particular is that you can just learn at your own pace, and you can pick exactly what you want to work on, and you don't have the pressure when you're working with a teacher of that teacher watching you. And I know, being a student, I was super intimidated when somebody I looked up to was kind of staring at me while I was learning my material. So it lets you learn at your own pace, and also there's the visual aspect as well. So you can learn the notation or the tablature and watch the video and play along at slower speeds, which
yeah, I guess also too is like when you go to a teacher, you're sort of stuck with what they know, and if you're looking for a particular style, then you can actually go up online and sort of find that.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to go check out your lessons, what's your URL? I mean, how do they reach out to you?
If you just go to soundslice.com, there's my lessons on there, and there's just so many other great artists. And it's not just guitar players. They have piano players, drummers. The company is really expanding right now to cater towards a lot of different styles of musicians that are pretty popular in the social media world. So yeah, just go to soundslice.com, and we also have on our Instagram and social media platforms our own separate links to the website as well.
And that's Soundslice, and it's Todd Pritchard. Thanks, Todd, for stopping by and telling us about this.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, man. Cheers.
Thank you.
Hey, Brad Talinsky here, live on Twitch TV. We're reporting from the 2017 NAMM convention. And next up, we have the legendary and semi-furry Nuno Bettencourt.
How you doing, man?
Good.
Good to see you. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. How are you?
Good. I have absolutely no notes. I don't know
I
what
hope
you're
you don't.
doing.
I hope you don't. Because
so
what are you doing? I'm interviewing you, I was told.
I'm doing all sorts of of things.
Yeah.
Just got a book that came out. Play it loud. Everybody go out there.
Play it loud. Go get his book, everybody.
Exactly. So what brings you to the show this year?
Go figure. Washburn. Still.
Washburn.
After
Still.
so many years.
Still crazy after all.
Still crazy after all these years. I don't know why they stick with me, but they do. They do.
Are there any new variations on the N4 that we should know about?
We still haven't been able to afford paint yet and a finish, but we're getting there. We're almost making... No, I mean, look, there's been a lot of variations since back in the day, but I think I've seen every version of it, which is amazing. But the original N4 stays the same, good old, faithful. You can do a gig, you can cut meatballs on it, you can do all sorts of things. It's amazing.
The Ginsu guitar.
Yeah, you get a free set of Ginsu knives, and it makes mounds and mounds of coleslaw, without a doubt.
Well, I stopped by the Washburn booth and I was looking around, and I saw that they did a sort of a 7-string variation.
They did. I've actually I've been writing a few things with it.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to play any chords on the thing, but it's very cool. I'm actually having some fun with it.
Isn't it like really weird after you've been playing 6 strings?
Very weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird. It's like a bad dream. It's like if Zeppelin asked you to go play and Jimmy Page up, and then they hand you a 7-string, and that's it. Yeah, it's just your life is over. It's done, man.
I say it's like all of a sudden, if you found you had an extra finger on your hand too.
Yeah.
Like it would take you a while to figure out
it
would
how
to use that.
Yeah,
thing.
and especially when you look at like a Floyd, they make a Floyd, and you look at that extra fine tuner, and it's a bad dream.
Yeah.
It's a bad dream.
So make sure you go out and get the 7-string N4 because it's a bad dream.
It's a bad. Good marketing. Good marketing. I love it though. I love bad dreams.
So what's going on the musical front?
A bit of everything, man. You remember the Extreme Boys? We're doing a new album.
Oh, you guys are?
Yeah.
When's that coming out?
Yeah, we're shooting for hopefully the end of spring, summer. We're excited about it, as bands are. We're very excited about it. Yeah.
Any grand concepts or just a bunch of great songs?
Nah, just a bunch of stuff that people don't want anymore. Memorable hit songs. Just those sorts of things.
Good riffs, great
Good
solos.
Riffs,
I don't want that.
The shit that nobody listens to anymore. Portugal.
And you've been playing with other artists. You did tour for a bit with Rihanna. You're still doing that stuff?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I didn't do the last tour. I'm kind of trying to go back to the rock and roll, but I did 5 years with her, and it was amazing playing with some great musicians. And when you got a band, when the drummer comes off a Stevie Wonder tour, Christopher Johnson, you got bass player, like the band was ridiculous. People said to me, geez, you're doing this pop gig, and I thought it was going to be a day at the park. It was anything but. It was, you had to be able to actually, the extreme stuff is what you know and what you write. All of a sudden you're going from a reggae song to a pop song to an R&B track to a real funk trap to a club track, and you had to really put all these hats, and that I love everything, and it really was a challenge, you know. And they basically said, hey, put your guitars on these songs, you know, and all these hits that she's had, and make them heavy, make them rock. It was really fun, and she was amazing to work with. Yeah.
So they didn't make you hide your light under a bushel basket. They actually wanted that guitar out there in
They
front.
wanted it out there. Not only that, they gave me like 3 or 4 like of these massive pieces. What's up, man? Massive like guitar moments, like 3-4 minute, like go out in the middle of the center of the arena and just like improvise for that. You know, it's amazing. Thank God for wardrobe changes. Thank God for wardrobe changes.
All the little girls went out to get their drinks during that period.
That was it. No, but her crowd is their music, man. They love music.
Yeah.
It ain't no lightweights out there.
So what is that experience? Are you bringing any of that into, say, the next Extreme record? Is that affecting your writing at all?
As a matter of fact, yeah, for sure. We fired Gary, and we have a female singer now, really hot one. Yeah, that's the way we're going to approach it, because it seems to work for Rihanna. Yeah. So, no, we said either that or Gary is going to wear a dress. We're not sure which one, but he's working on it. He's working out his legs a little
I hear that transgender is in these days.
It's in, and you know that we're going to get bashed for saying that, even though it's positive, but hey, it's in. Can't say anything these days.
It's going to bring a whole new meaning to the words porno graffiti.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So, you know, guitar's half the equation. Amps, what are you doing for that these days?
Oh, you know, I've been bouncing through. I did a model with Randall. It was the first time I had ever done one of my own. And it was the NB King, and we're still kind of flushing it out a little bit. You know, it's been out in the market, but it was always the way we tour. As much as we tour, I was like, you know, bouncing in between those and sometimes the Marshalls that I was using. But that I think is still one of my favorite amps. I use it in the studio all the time. The NB King. It's been amazing. Yeah.
Did they let you use those amps when you were playing with Rihanna? I mean.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing was when they called me about doing the gig and she saw some clips of mine, I said to them, "Do I get to be me?" And they said, yeah. I mean, the exact rig that I use with Extreme, they wanted it to rock. When you saw it live, it almost scared, I think, a lot of their fans, because when you went out and heard it out front, it was a rock show.
Well, wasn't Rihanna, like, wasn't she more of a metal artist before? Like, didn't she start? I think she started out like.
No, I don't know.
That's why I heard that.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. She's from Barbados.
She was originally an Arch Enemy, I thought.
Yeah, she was that, and then that was right before she did. Yeah, right before she went for the Metallica audition for bass. Yes. I remember that. Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, you know, but, Metallica, they're always trying to keep up with the times.
Yeah, always. Why not?
The Black Album, the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. But listen, besides that, I'm going into your side of things. You know, started a multimedia company called Atlantis Entertainment, launching this year, coming up this year. It's a music division where we're looking for new artists, new young artists, and I'm going to be like sort of producing, writing. And also, I wrote a few scripts. Believe it or not, I'm a big movie guy.
Oh, interesting.
And we're developing some scripts there as well, in a musical, and also a live festival division where we're launching the Atlantis Music Festival 2018.
Nice.
First one, man.
You know, I just produced a record for Steve Vai's label of all women guitarists.
Did you do
that? A compilation, yeah.
That's.
And I got to tell you, I got to turn you on to it, because there's just some sick guitar players that you probably haven't heard before. This girl.
Women. This
girl, Sarah Longfield, unbelievable. She's like, you know, Pat Metheny.
But is she hot? No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
That's what people. No, because you know what? A lot of times, and I'm actually excited to hear you say that, because a lot of times when I see, you know, and I'm sure females don't like this, you see a female guitarist and everybody raves about them, and then you watch them as a guitar player and you go like, yeah, she's okay, she's good, but everybody gets excited because she's a woman, and I think that's bad for women.
No,
you
dude,
know what I mean?
this
should be
other
on the
girl,
plane,
Yassi Hoffer, totally smoke you, man.
She would smoke me?
Yeah, totally.
What about her guitar playing?
I
don't know. He set me up. He set me up there. What do you want me to?
Couldn't help
honestly, I'm just fucking around. But I'm excited. So with Steve, you did it. How do I've been playing with Steve, and he didn't even tell me about this. What's going on? Did you come to see Generation X? You didn't even bother. You didn't even come to see Generation X, did you?
I saw it.
Because it's all about the women.
I saw it.
It's all about the women with you.
I saw it. You didn't see me back there?
Did I?
I was at that show.
You were at that show, were you?
I was.
Yeah, you're a big superstar now. Nobody can even get near you now. This is the only way I can actually talk to you. To be invited.
I don't know, man. It's all about the scarf.
It's all about the scarf.
Yeah, he's got the furry collar, but I've got the scarf.
I'll get a scarf one day. One day.
Anyways, we could do this all day.
Yes, we could. Anyways.
So thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I know it's hard to get up here.
Thrilled seeing you again.
It's there's a black little rope thing over there.
There is.
But anyways, Brad Talinsky, ladies and gentlemen.
It's to keep
for my next guest, I'm
keep,
going to bring up.
It's the rope here is to keep Nuno Bettencourt away from all of you.
Brad Talinsky, Guitar World, early days of editor, Guitar World. Put me on the cover a couple of times, but never again. But never again. All right.
I'll try.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Matt. Cheers. Cheers. See you. All right.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, Laura. What brings you up here?
Well, I thought since we're live streaming,
yes,
that we might want to talk to our video company that's doing our live stream and get some tips and thoughts from them about what we've gotten our set up and the whole live streaming world and that kind of stuff. So what do you think?
I don't know. Do we really want to bring these guys up?
They've been doing an awesome job. So what do you say? Well, you want to take a break and I'll bring one of the video guys up and have a little chat?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Hey, I'm Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events, and we're broadcasting live from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California. I thought I'd bring up our friends from Data Video. We're going to chat just for a minute about our live streaming and what they're doing with video and all kinds of fun stuff. So, hey.
Hey,
how are you? So, why don't you tell the folks on Twitch a little bit about our setup here and you know, some things that they might want to also think about if they want to get into live streaming.
Sure, we're showing some brand new technology from Data Video that's called the KMU 100, and it's interesting because it lets you produce more complicated shows with less cameras. So we only have one 4K camera, which is much higher resolution than we need for a webcast, and we could break that up with our magic box, the KMU 100, and make it look like a 4-camera shoot. So whenever you have limited resources, we might not want to bring 4 cameramen to do a quick little webcast for Twitch TV, but we can do something that's very similar with a lot less resources, and a lot less room, and a lot less money.
I wish we could show you a camera shot of our camera because it's really small.
Yep, yeah, it's a little tiny, and we're using the same technology for the Nissan Sage. So we have one camera in front of house, and that can get us 4 shots, which is really cool. Then we have 4 of our robotic cameras in stage left and stage right, one in the truss to make it look like you got 20 cameras, and we really have 5, which is very cool.
So are these cameras, I'm sure they're pro level, but is there something that you might suggest for, people maybe starting to get into streaming or what they could do?
The great thing is with robotic cameras and also with the KMU, you need less camera operators. So in the old days, you'd make a record, so you go on tour to sell the record. Now you basically go on tour to make money, and you have to put on a show because the ticket prices are higher, so everyone's got to do video. And if you could do video with less people, less people to transport and less equipment, everybody's looking to cut down on freight costs and logistics and all that, and being able to do, one PTZ camera can look like 4 cameras. This can look like 4 cameras, and we can actually do that whole process twice. So we could plug in 2 4K cameras, and it looks like 8 shots, and you don't have to bring the camera people and pay the flights and the hotels and the per diem and all that neat stuff.
Yeah, and actually this gear could probably fit in your carry-on.
Exactly. The camera's very small. The KMU is 1 rack unit, and we're plugging it into a switcher that we have that's a 6-input HD switcher that lists for $2,000. And last year I was new with Data Video, and we used that switcher to do the main stage. And I come from a little bit of the broadcast world, and I was a little bit nervous about doing a show. We had Dr. John from New Orleans and Graham Nash from Woodstock, and to switch that with a $2,000 switcher came off incredible. The PTZ cameras look great, and our PTZ cameras allow you to run one cable. We run like a network cable you'd have in your house from front of house to the camera, and it's bringing the video signal. We're controlling the camera, pan, tilt, and zoom. It's got a tally light in case Nuno's playing and he wants to look at which camera is live and he wants to make a face. And it's also powering the camera, because sometimes up on the truss it's hard to find places to power the camera. And we're doing it all with one cable.
Can you give us an idea of price range of one of these kinds of cameras?
I think the package we're doing here is well under $10,000. So that's with the switcher, the controller, the KMU, and we're doing streaming with our streaming encoder is also from Data Video, and we're also recording it in higher quality in case somebody wants to edit it later on, and all the Data Video equipment well under $10,000 for what we're doing here.
That's incredible, actually.
I think last year the joke I made was
I'll take one.
on the main stage. I'm calculating. I come from the broadcast world, and I said it costs less money to buy this gear than to rent a mobile unit to produce one day of concerts. And we did 4 days of 26 bands with that amount of equipment.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think might be some challenges people who are getting into streaming might encounter? So, I know personally, like, the internet connection is probably, for us, one of the biggest challenges that we face.
Well, that's changing every day. The internet connection is probably the biggest challenge, but that's getting faster every day. The other thing is cost. Usually producing video is quite expensive. Data video is here to change that. And the other one is ease of use. It has to be easy to use. And to me, I don't want to just sell to video professionals. I want to sell to people that want to communicate via video, and they're going to use video to do that. So we have all the YouTube stars that you want to learn how to play guitar. They have 4 GoPro cameras, and then they spend a week in editing to post it. They could buy one of our switchers for $1,200, plug in their cameras, switch it live, record it, and if you can get more content up on the air every week instead of 1 video per week, you have 5, you make more money. Content is king.
Yeah, I agree with that. So how can our viewers find out more about what you guys are doing?
You can visit us on datavideo.com. We have a YouTube channel. We're posting some behind-the-scenes stuff of how we're doing stuff here, and also on the Nissan stage. And stop by and see us if you're at NAMM. If not, datavideo.com.
All right, well, thanks so much. We'll be back shortly with some more interviews and content. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Laura Whitmore with BackStory Events, and we're live from the NAMM show in Anaheim, California. Stay tuned.
Coaster rides here, I have to say, during the course of the day, but it's all cool. Sure. Let me know when. Hey, Brad Talinsky back. We're on Twitch TV, live from the 2017 NAMM convention. And we have Tom here from Ibanez Guitars. And I mean, you guys all know Ibanez Guitars, Paul Gilbert, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, George Benson. You know, they not only make the pointy guitars, but they make some serious, cool jazz boxes as well. But anyways, enough of me talking about Ibanez. We got Tom here, who is going to tell us about a few things. I mean, the first thing is we had Steve Vai on a little bit earlier today, and he was telling us about the anniversary of the Gem Guitars.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was 30 years ago, Chicago NAMM show, when the Gem first made its debut. Caused quite a stir. It was under a black cloth. There was armed guards waiting for the unveiling ceremony, and there were a lot of other brands there watching the unveiling. And when the curtain came off, there was a lot of shocked faces. Colors obviously were pretty vibrant. Quite an amazing guitar that's created quite a legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people really understand these days how revolutionary that guitar was. I mean, you had the whammy bar that you could pull up. You had like
and push down.
And push down. And the neck profile on there was sort of unlike anything, thinner than about any other neck, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're known for our thin, fast necks, and really that wizard neck is what put us on the map for that fast style.
I think also the cutaway on that guitar was a little deeper than anything we'd ever seen.
Super deep cutaway, all access to all the frets, which even if you had 22 or 21 fret guitars prior to that, you didn't always have access to the upper register. So that was very important to Steve in the development of that every note was reachable.
I mean, people take that for granted these days, but back then you had your basic Stratocaster and you had your basic Les Paul. And the Steve Vai Gem pretty much revolutionized the way a lot of people started making guitars after that.
Absolutely.
Including Ibanez.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, huge impact.
So what else new do you have?
Well, it is the 30th anniversary of the Gem, but it's also a very important milestone. It's the 40th anniversary of the George Benson. So we've been working proudly with George for 40 years, and to commemorate that, we have 2 releases this year. The GB 40th, which is a limited run, very few pieces, very limited. And then we have a limited production run, the GB 40th 2, which we're going to run all year just for 2017.
I mean, that to a point, in a certain way, the fact that you guys have had people like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, they sort of think about Ibanez as being this company that makes, these vibrant guitars and these very sort of space-agey kind of things. But you guys had a serious jazz tradition for a number of years.
From the very beginning. Actually, before the Shredders got involved, the Jazzers were there first. We've had a long established relationship with George Benson, obviously, Pat Metheny, John Schofield, and the up-and-comers. Eric Krasno is very well established now. So even the young generation has moved into the Ibanez archtops.
What is Tom told me that that Ibanez is putting out something like 130 different instruments this year, but I'm sort of curious, of all of them, what's the one that really has you excited as a player?
Well, there's so many good things, it's really hard to narrow it down. There's some really cool things going on in the Premium series, which is revamped this year. Stainless steel frets, all sorts of cool features. But the acoustics actually has me jazzed because, we're not always looked at as the traditional acoustic company. We're more looked at as the electric guitar, acoustic guitar company. But we made several inroads in the traditional market in the last 4 to 5 years. And this year we introduced these thermal aged acoustic guitars, which are torrefied tops. Just incredible tone. So I'm really proud of those, actually. I'm an acoustic guy myself.
So thermal age, does that mean that somehow you guys loosen up the wood to make it sound like an older piece of wood using some sort of space age technology?
Exactly. It's a modern manufacturing technique, so we're using the modern craftsmanship matched with the traditional craftsmanship. And what you're doing is you're basically superheating the wood in a superheated oven in a vacuum, and it pulls the moisture out and decomposes the resins. So it's like a fast forwarding of the aging process. So as we know, solid tops continue to improve with age tonally. So what you have is a guitar that right out of the shop sounds like a naturally aged 15-year-old instrument.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're an acoustic guy.
I am. That's my preference as a player.
Like Travis picking, that kind of stuff. Like, what do you do?
Oh, it's just the tonal differences in the acoustic versus the electric, the way it mixes on stage with other musicians. I've always liked to play that way.
So, just one more question. So what is the most heavy metal guitar that you guys are making this year?
Well, the entire Iron Label series is really huge for us right now in the metal market, and the one that really sticks out is the RGA IX 6 and 7 string as well. It's an ash body with bare knuckle pickups, ebony fingerboard, really cool.
So I guess the moral of the story here is, if you're into guitars, whether it's shredding, whether it's into jazz stuff, whether it's heavy metal, I mean, Ibanez has something. Sounds like they have something for you this year.
Absolutely, there's something for everybody.
So go check it out on Ibanez.com, right? Would that be the thing? Thanks for coming by, Tom.
All
really
right, thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me.
Yep. It's Brad Talinsky here, Twitch TV. Our next guest that we have is Mr. Vance Powell. Vance, you may not necessarily know the name, but you definitely know his work.
Thanks.
Tell us like a few of the different artists that you've done work with.
Jack White, Chris Stapleton, Beyonce, Red Fang, Tom Jones, Wanda Jackson.
Oh, did you just work on that Tom Jones record with?
I did the one with Jack White.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that Tom did one with Jack. I heard that Ethan
did a couple songs with him. Ethan Johns usually works with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but Vance, you're here representing
Universal Audio.
Universal Audio, and I found that sort of interesting because when you think of Universal Audio, you think of sort of digital stuff. And you don't necessarily think of digital when you think of working with Jack White.
Well, no, but Universal Audio is a hardware company that built, classic analog compressors and classic mic preamps and classic consoles, and they started that first, years and years and years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, actually. So they've built a base, a foundation of good analog audio gear that now can be brought into today with UAD.
So what is the? I saw a couple of the demos. I stopped by the UA booth, and saw a couple of the demos. What has you excited this year?
Well, everything that they're doing. I mean, they've got a lot of good stuff going on with the Apollo, and you can now the relatively average people can spend a relatively small amount of money and have an entire recording studio in their laptop. That's sometimes a good thing, and sometimes not such a good thing. But it does put the power to make music in the hands of most everybody. And it sounds great.
Cool. Well, I know that you work at Blackbird Studios, and Blackbird, for those of you who don't know, I don't know, it may be the studio in the United States right now. It's certainly on its way to becoming one of the great legendary recording studios. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes that studio so special?
I worked there from 2002 until 2010 as a chief engineer, and now I work there often as an independent engineer on my own and producer. Well, the studio has a no compromise attitude. In other words, oh, we don't have this microphone, boom, we buy one. Oh, we don't have these pieces of gear, we buy them. And that's kind of the deal. It's just a no holds barred recording experience. It's very nice. I have my own studio called Sputnik Sound now.
Okay,
that
cool.
I share with my partner Mitch Dane, and I've had it. We've been together for 12 years. So while working at Blackbird, I have my own studio also.
Nice. So did you build that from scratch?
We did build this new one from scratch 2.5 years ago. Yes.
And what are the sort of outstanding features that you would say of your studio?
We have two rooms. He has a Neve 8014, which is a classic Neve Class A console. I have an SSL 6000, highly modified. it's just, you know, we have our own tracking rooms, we have our own thing. We can have different records going on at once, but yet we're all kind of together and in one room and in a partnership together. We share gear, we share instruments, you know.
What is the one piece of gear that you find is the most essential to your job?
Your ears.
Outside of yours, because I can't buy your ears.
Your heart.
I can't buy your heart either.
What's the one? I mean, really, the reality is good microphones.
Yep.
Good speakers.
Yep.
These are the transducers that take music out of the air and turn it into electricity, and then turn electricity back into music in the air. If you have great speakers and you have great microphones, a lot of the stuff in the middle is just shaping that transceived sound. So great microphones, great mic preamps, great speakers, that whole chain.
What do you use as monitor speakers in your studio?
I have three. I have three sets. I have a set of NS10s, classic.
Yep,
I have a set of ProAct Studio 100s, and then I have a set of very custom, highly custom built speakers by a guy named Norman Druce in Detroit, and they're really fantastic.
Yay, Detroit! That's my hometown.
Yeah, Detroit.
So you've worked with a wide variety of artists.
A lot of people.
You know, a lot of them great ones. You know, I'm not going to take anything away from any of them, but I got to think that working with Faith Hill would be a little bit different than working with Jack White.
Well, they're both. That's a different thing. I mean, working with Faith Hill or Martina or any of the female country acts, it's a very structured environment. You know, you have a session, you have session players. You're going to come in, you're going to work 3 hours, you're going to take an hour break, then you're going to work for another 3 hours, and then everybody goes home. And you know, it's very structured. Everything is structured. Working with Jack is I show up at 10. I have no idea what we're going to record. I rarely have an idea of who I'm recording. And you know, it's a completely different mindset, both equally artistic and equally commercially viable in their own thing. One of them is a little more fun than the other one, but I'm not going to tell you which one.
But I got to think that that's also keeps it interesting for you. I mean, each one presents its own, I would imagine, own unique challenges.
Yeah, I mean, like I just was working on the second Chris Stapleton record. I did the first one. I'm just finished the second one. You know, it's almost a very Jack White thing. We come in, we hang out. You know, we have some dinner. You know, we have some lunch, then we hang out. We play a little bit. We have some dinner. We play some more, and then we go home. And it's just people making music. And Jack does that same thing. It's very different from a Nashville structured, you know, recording session. The Nashville structured recording sessions are you come in, you know, and you start at 10 and you end at, you know, 1. You take a break and you come back at 2, and you've got to get these sessions done. You have to get these songs. It has to be done. Everybody's pro. Everybody's reading off charts, and it's just a very different feel from sort of organically creating music. Even though I hate that word organic, but
the one thing about Blackbird, it was known to have its great collection of guitars. Do you
great
have
guitars, a lot of microphones. Best mic collection in the world.
Do you have your own kick-ass collection of guitars in your studio?
I'm not really a guitar player. I'm a guitar owner.
Yeah. No, that's
so,
cool.
You know, I mean, I have sort of the standards. You know, I have a great P bass. I've got a cool, aggressive P bass. I've got a Tele. I've got a Strat. I've got an old Gretsch. I've got some hollow bodies. I've got acoustics. You know, guitars aren't exactly the thing that I really have a lot of. I have a lot of drums. I have some keyboards, some pianos, B3, you know, some Moog, a bunch of stuff from Moog. But, you know, mostly for guitars, I just have things that are maybe a little different from what people would normally have.
Right.
You know, and like cymbals, like I don't have good cymbals. All my cymbals are broken. All of them are terrible. That's fine. Everybody has good cymbals. I have all the broken ones.
Yeah.
You know, I have all the ones that make clanging and bashing and, you know, things that people don't have. So
There's probably plenty of guitars in Nashville.
yeah, guitars.
You don't need to have any extra ones.
Really not a problem.
You can call up Gruen if you need to or whatever.
Yeah, Carter Vintage or Gruen, either one. Carter Vintage guys are really nice. I could probably borrow anything I wanted, more or less.
Awesome. So are you working? Are you working on any cool new projects? Anything coming up?
Well, like I said, I just finished Chris Stapleton and the second Chris Stapleton record,
and there's nobody bigger on the planet right now. Oh my God,
really
he's
fantastic.
burning it up.
I'm getting ready to do a band from down in San Diego, starting on Monday. A little country band from down in San Diego, production thing, and then after that, I've got a couple things in the works, but that's a few weeks off, so we'll figure it out.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for stopping by,
You got it.
Vance. Lovely to have you, and
thanks for having me.
Love your work, man.
Have a good NAMM. Thanks.
Cheers.
Got it.
Brad Talinsky here for Twitch TV. We're at the 2017 NAMM convention. Next up, we have the incredibly talented Gretchen Menn. Gretchen, come on up. How you doing?
Great. How are you, Brad?
Good. So I'm really excited to talk to Gretchen because I keep on hearing about this new record that she's working on, and it sounds so intriguing to me. It's based on Dante's Inferno.
It is, yeah. The record was actually released a few weeks ago. It's called Abandon All Hope, and it is a concept album based on Dante's Inferno.
Okay. Sorry, these microphones, you got to get them nice and close. So tell me, the instrumentation is sort of unique on the album.
Yeah, well, I wanted to combine what I love about both rock music and more like classical, romantic 20th century music, because I love a lot of different types. Those were my two kind of most primary and most fundamental aspects that really grabbed me in music. And so I wanted to incorporate the electric guitar into a more compositional context and use other instruments. And so I studied music in college, and then I spent the last few years making a more intensive study of composition and orchestration so that I could blend some of what I love about classical music and instrumentation and orchestration with some of what I love about rock music, sort of the visceral energy and aggression.
I don't know if I have this correct, but didn't your sisters play with you on this record?
I have one sister, Kirsten, but it would be smart. It's totally understandable to think I'd have two because she played both the keyboards and she sang. So she's got enough talent for more than one person.
And this features like a full-on string section too?
Yeah, it's a string quartet and guitar, bass, drums. Kirsten also did the soprano lines. There's not lyrics, but she did kind of like this operatic soprano lines that weave in and out in a few places, and then classical piano as well.
How were you inspired by Dante to do this?
Well, it's interesting because the concept is not my concept. Actually, it was Michael Melenda's concept, but he brought it to me.
Michael Melenda, the editor of Guitar Player magazine.
Exactly. And he brought it to me at a time that I actually didn't know Michael very well at all. I knew of him, and I had met him very briefly. But it was right after I had finished my first album, Hail Souls, and I had started thinking about blending my love of literature with music, and I had started thinking actually about writing sort of a concept album based around a piece of literature. And I had actually been thinking of like J.D. Salinger or F. Scott Fitzgerald. Hadn't decided on anything yet because my album was still brand new, but I was just thinking about the next one. Yep. And then Michael sat me down and we had a cup of tea together, and I had actually kind of braced myself because I didn't know him to get another lecture on that I needed to sing or I needed to do more pop sensibility music. And so he brings out the sheet of paper and it says, the date of it, which actually it turned out was almost like to the day 5 years after the album pre-release party. Michael Melenda, Gretchen Menn, Dante's Inferno, A Journey in 11 Different Musical Moods. And I just remember it was one of the few moments of my life that I can say that all at once it was like goosebumps and I know what I'm going to be doing for the next few years. So he could not have presented something to me that was more exactly up the lines of what I wanted to be doing.
So this, for you out there, I mean, this wasn't a record that was done in a garage and just banged out. We're talking 3 years of 3 or 4 years of arranging and work and everything?
Yeah, I had been studying with a composition teacher, but I continued to, and I focused all of my studies towards the realization of this album. And so, yeah, it was a number of years of just composing it, working on orchestration. My coffee table, I think, has like 6 orchestration manuals on it. So I had written for string quartet before, but trying to actually write better for string quartet, which I'm always trying to work on. And yeah, so it was a solid 3.5 years of composition, and then a lot of time to get everything recorded as well and mixed.
Well, that said, this might seem like a dumb question, but what was in your mind the greatest challenge of realizing this music?
That's a great question. I think what was the greatest challenge, but then also one of the greater rewards, was I had always approached music and writing music. I say that as though I've put out tons of albums. I haven't. Up until that point, I had always written music in a very kind of free, like, okay, this amuses me. I find this beautiful. This would be interesting. Let me try this. But to have something where from the very get-go, I have a goal that the music is supposed to evoke something. Like, so for instance, one of the pieces on the record is Limbo. And I realized, well, how would I evoke limbo musically? And I'm thinking, well, the cornerstone of Western music is tension and resolution. And if limbo basically doesn't allow either, I have to make something that sounds like a complete piece of music and feels satisfying as a piece of music while moving a lack of resolution to another lack of resolution. So that was an incredible challenge. And I definitely remember sitting down and going like, how am I going to do this? But I learned so much by approaching things in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, I always think that the, sort of the best moments that I've had as a musician is like actually practically doing something. Practice is essential and learning is essential, but there's nothing like actually having to do something to really make you learn a skill.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a natural student. I could sit around and study all the time and never feel prepared to do something. So sometimes it takes a little push for me. Otherwise, I'd always feel unworthy of the project that I need to be working on. And so it was really helpful with both my first album and with this album to have some outside force say, hey, get it together now.
So I'd be remiss not to bring this up, but everybody here might be getting a little sick of me mentioning another record that's coming out. Just yesterday we released She Rocks Volume 1. It's a record I co-produced with Steve Vai, and Gretchen has a track on that, and we're really thrilled to have her. It's more of your funky electric side, though. Can you tell us a little bit about Scrap Metal, the track that's on She Rocks Volume 1?
Yeah, so Scrap Metal it's the opening track of my first record, Hail Souls. And it's sort of, I guess, on the heaviest end of the spectrum of that album. And that one, I had written, and I was actually working with Jude Gold, who also I played in a band with.
The great guitar player with
Jefferson Starship
now, yeah.
Yeah, amazing guitar player, dear friend. And I had actually, a key part of it, the opening part of it was these slapped harmonics. Jude does this incredible slapping stuff on the guitar, and I sat him down. I'm like, show me how to do that. And he would go bong, and I'd go bing. And I realized that every time I would hit the string, for some reason I was getting harmonics, no matter what I did. I couldn't not get a harmonic. And I'm going like, Jude, what am I doing wrong? And he's going like, just go with it. That's amazing. Like, that's so cool. And I realized I could get arpeggios actually all the way up the string by the pickups. And so he was like, don't worry about doing the slap funky stuff that I do. Like, do your weird little harmonic thing. So that ended up being the opening for it, and kind of goes throughout. And then the rest is just sort of heavy, chunky riffs and arpeggios throughout.
And all sorts of guitar goodness. So are you going to do performances of your new record? I mean, are you planning to perform with a string quartet?
I would definitely like to. My hope and my plan is to do that right now. Just the number of rehearsals and budget to get together to be able to do this live it feels a little daunting right now. That's not to say I don't want to do it, and I'm not trying to figure out how to do it. But one thing I know I definitely, at least at this point, I don't want to do is the idea of playing to backing tracks would only encourage people to misunderstand my intention with the album, which is that it's not guitar plus other instruments. It's guitars within an ensemble, and it would be just as ridiculous for me to do it that way as to take any other piece for an ensemble and take one player out of it and put them live with marginalized backing tracks. So my hope is to be able to do it with live instruments, and it'll just be the time and budget to get that together.
Well, I would say don't abandon hope,
Do.
You'll be able to do. Anyways, you guys should check it out. You can probably get it on Amazon.
It's on iTunes. It's on various online digital distributors. Not all of them. There are a couple I boycotted just because I believe that artists, for the most part, are practically doing a public service, and to spend, whatever it is, $10 to $20 for the efforts of someone's lifetime is something that I'm happy to do with the artists I like. So I like to go with the distributors that actually I feel like do good for artists. You can also get it directly on my website, which is just GretchenMenn.com. And there is actually a download that includes all of the album art.
So the record is called Abandon All Hope. Lovely Gretchen Menn, great guitar player. You guys definitely need to check out that. And her performance on She Rocks Volume 1, too. Thanks, Gretchen.
Thank you so much for having me, Brad.
Yes.
And thanks for having me on the album. It was a real honor.
Oh, thank you. Brad Talinsky here, Twitch TV. We're reporting live from the 2017 NAMM show in Anaheim, California. It's been raining for a couple of days, but the sun finally came out today. It makes me very, very happy. And next up, we have Mr. Paul Childers.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Yeah, man. So what brings you to NAMM?
We're at NAMM because we have a set actually at the Hilton. So anyone that's listening, at 8 p.m., go to the Hilton and see our set. It's going to be blistering, and get a drink and drink it with us. And we can't wait to see you there. Plug. Shameless.
I like that interaction with the audience. You have a drink, they have a drink.
Absolutely. So even now, if you've got one, bring it to the
Exactly. It's towards the end of the day here. I could definitely
And it's been a long one, man. This is my first time ever at NAMM. Yeah. And as a guitar player, it has been absolutely mind-boggling.
What'd you see that was cool?
Well, I got to go by the Martin tent, which is what I play, and I got to go up to Fender, which is great. But all these boutique, very niche guitars, and the way that they care for their clients and their future customers, I don't think you can get any closer to a company. This is such a beautiful way to get close.
You know, the little frustration in NAMM, though, is there's so many beautiful instruments, but when you play them, it's not the best acoustic environment to listen to them.
No, because the drum booth is right next to the acoustic guitar booth, or the violins are shredding right next to it. But it's still the community. There are so many like-minded people here, and to be a part of it and to be able to play here, it's such an honor to be invited.
You're surrounded by tons of musicians, which means, of course, they're all asking you for money. I don't. Anyways, so Paul, you just recorded a new record?
Yes, I did. It is called
in Nashville.
Yes, I did. It's at County Q Studios in Nashville, where I live, and it's called Naked Poetry. And actually, today is the pre-release. It just got released on pledgemusic.com. So anyone that's watching can go check it out, preview it, see the video that comes with it. And I'm just so immensely proud of the work and the time and the songs and the people, the best friends that I made while making it, and it made me a better man and a better player, and in the end, hopefully a better just musician all around.
So what did you have to say on this record? What was in your soul? What was in your heart, my friend?
There's loss, then there's love, and then there's being 20, and how to cope with these things that when you're 25 won't matter. So how do you write songs for a 20-year-old and a 30-year-old and a 40-year-old? And I think the answer is kind of the alchemy of all our styles, which is blues. You know, I grew up as a blues guitar player, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Hendrix, B.B. King, and then I found Miles Davis. So then jazz came into the picture, and then I thought, well, why don't I try to actually be heard in this society that demands a certain kind of pop? So I started writing pop songs, and it was really accidental. I got into Sting and Seal and found that the way that they write pop songs and include
Good songs.
Yeah,
Good
that
songs.
means something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we all know how to, you know, your love is my drug and whatever. I love those kinds of songs, but
No, you don't. You want good songs.
I want to mean something to a lot of people, but in a way that is, you know, you can put your record on when you're in bed with somebody on a Sunday morning, or when you're brokenhearted, or when you're driving down the road after getting fired. Not that my fans do that often, but
I wrote this one song about getting a Slurpee at 7-Eleven. It wasn't any good though.
But it meant something, which I think is best Slurpee you ever had.
It meant a lot. So, are you more of an acoustic guy, acoustic guitarist?
On this record, no, I really got to stretch. I had this beautiful Stratocaster, and I had such such access to incredible gear that I really got to showcase what it is to be a guitar player as well as a songwriter, and had an incredible producer, Nick Lutz, who fashioned me down into, you know, a much pointier tip. Like, get to the point. How can you write some songs that tell us what we need to hear? Don't bore us. Get to the chorus, but do it in a way that is still finishing your thought and that making that thought actually count.
What do you feel is the sort of the most complicated thing about being an artist in this very complicated sort of new world that we're in?
I think as an artist, you have to be able to, it's almost more important to be able to navigate what is the business side, your publishing, how to get paid for your songs. You know, even on a very small level, you should be getting paid every time you play live. You know, having the business sense to say, okay, I've made this project that I believe in. Now I want to sell it so I can make a new one. That's how I measure success, not with money or with the number of fans, but the ability to make another record for the fans that are there and that count, because they will grow with you. They will find a way to make sure that they always know what you're up to. Those are the people, you know what I mean? People that believe what you're saying, and maybe they take guitar lessons with you. Like, I'm talking about real personal relationships. That's what pushes me to be what I hope is a stronger and more suitable artist for this 21st century. People demand it, and I'm glad they do.
I mean, does that require you to become like a social media wizard?
That's a part of it as well. I mean, I was an accounting major, so math is a part of it. You know, it's sometimes it comes down to dollar and cents. I don't want to.
Is that how you build this personal relationship with your audience? You help them with their math
I do their
homework?
taxes. It's tax season, and so what? In addition to guitar playing, I help people with their 1099s.
I'm in. I'm totally in.
So pre-order the record and send me a message. I'm competing directly with H&R Block right now.
So what is the name of the record? And if somebody was just going to go and listen to one song on it, could you, because a lot of people, quite frankly,
Sure.
they're going to listen to one song, and then if they don't like it,
Sure.
they're going to move on. What is
and
the
I
song?
agree. The goal is to be the best song they hear that day.
Yeah.
But the record's called Naked Poetry.
Okay.
And it's I know it's a sexy title, but I would go listen to the title track, Naked Poetry, which is number 6. And it kind of gives you a sense of, yes, the guitar playing, and yes, the D'Angelo style rhythm section with Motown. I had such incredible help with percussion and drums and bass, and then again, very sentimental songwriting, especially for somebody, but that I hope relates to everybody else. That or Music Pulls You Through, track 1.
Well, it's awesome to have you to chat with you.
Thank you. What a pleasure.
I'm definitely checking this thing out.
Please do.
I'm definitely going to have them do my taxes.
And now I feel like I've gotten myself into big trouble because I'm actually going to get messages about taxes. But thank you so much for having me. And am I the last one today? last and certainly least. Thank you.
He's last in the long line of greatness. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Again, this is Brad Talinsky, just saying goodbye from the 2017 NAMM show, Twitch TV.